Chapter 861. Published at 18th of April 2022 6:29 and 23 seconds p.m. Chapter 861. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 861. Li Jinxi's evaluation. Li Jinxi, who had suddenly decided to participate in the examination for whatever reason, stepped onto the silver water once it was her turn to be evaluated. 10 steps, 20 steps, 30 steps. Li Jinxi walked the silver lake without any effort like Wang Ming and the others. Once she reached 60 steps, the spectators noticed her presence and began focusing more on her. 70 steps. 75 steps. 80 steps. The spectators and the examiner expected for Li Jinxi to stop soon, but to their absolute shock she continued walking without any problems, almost as though she was not being restricted by the silver lake. 81 steps. 82 steps. 83 steps. Li Jinxi quickly passed Hong Xiuquan, who had the highest score amongst the others within their group. 87 steps. 88 steps. 89 steps. 90 steps. Li Jinxi surpassed Min Li's record shortly after and became the new highest scorer. However, Li Jinxi's brilliance did not stop there, and she continued to walk the silver water at the same calm and steady pace that she has been since the beginning. 95 steps. 97 steps. 100 steps. Li Jinxi eventually achieved 100 steps, shocking all spectators that had their eyes fixated on her. Heavens! Who is that girl? At this rate, she'll even surpass Senior Nie's record of 107 steps. The 7 elders were baffled by Li Jinxi's immense talents and mysterious background. And in their mind, they began pondering what they could offer Li Jinxi to entice her to join their sect. While the 7 elders pondered, Li Jinxi continued to increase her steps. 105 steps. 106 steps, 107 steps. Li Jinxi has matched Senior Nie's record, becoming the first person in the last 5,000 years to achieve such a feat. This genius? The Heavenly Academy must have her. Elder Lang thought to himself as he stared at Li Jinxi's beautiful yet tranquil face. The other 6 elders were thinking the same, and despite none of them saying it out loud, they were all fully aware of the others' thoughts. However, unbeknownst to these elders and the spectators, this was just the beginning of Li Jinxi's dominance. 110 steps, 120 steps, 130 steps. Li Jinxi's pure dominance for this examination was so shocking that it left all of her spectators completely silenced, and they could only quietly watch her walk the silver lake like a goddess. Once Li Jinxi reached 150 steps, she finally stopped moving. When the spectators saw this, they sighed in relief. If Li Jinxi were to continue any further, they might lose consciousness, as they had forgotten how to breathe while watching her. After stopping, Li Jinxi turned to look at the examiner and spoke out loud, "When do I stop?" "Excuse me?" The examiner didn't comprehend her question at first. "When do I stop? Or should I continue until I cannot?" Li Jinxi clarified, dumbfounding the examiner and the spectators alike. The examiner nodded his head in a dazed voice and responded in a shaky voice, "Why you continue walking until you cannot move anymore." "Okay." And without saying another word, Li Jinxi continued walking. 155 steps, 160 steps, 165 steps. Li Jinxi. She's really built differently, Chu Liuxiang chuckled. Yuan smiled and said, "I don't want to look down on the 6 spiritual families, but Li Jinxi was born in the wrong world. If she had been born here instead, if Li Jinxi had been born in the real cultivation world where there are plenty of resources to assist her growth, she would definitely flourish and be much more formidable than currently. How is this possible? She's already at 200 steps. I have never seen anything like this before." Elder Lang exclaimed in a shocked voice. "I really want to know where this genius, no, this monster came from." One of the elders there suddenly retrieved a communication. When the others noticed this, they immediately realized the reason and also took out their own communication jade slip. "Sect Master, this is urgent. Hurry and look at, visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters." "I know. I am already well aware of the young lady at the examination. We must secure this genius for our sect at all cost. In fact, I am heading to the examination site even as we speak. Leave everything to me." "I understand. Good luck, Sect Master." The other elders had similar conversations with their sect masters. "I assume that you all just spoke with your sect masters." Elder Lang spoke out loud after everyone finished their conversations. They all nodded silently. "Then I will also assume that they all decided to personally recruit her." Once again the elders silently nodded. "I see." For all 7 sect masters to be involved in a disciple examination, This is truly an unprecedented event. However, it is definitely a justified one. Hey, you guys want to make a bet? Eldery suddenly said. And he continued, a bet on which sect will acquire that genius. Sure, but I will obviously be cheering for my own sect. Me too. Same here. Then it's settled. Meanwhile, 250 steps. 260 steps. 270 steps. Li Jinsi was nearing 300 steps, and at the same time she was approaching the other side of the lake that required 500 steps to reach. Do you think she will make it to the other side of the lake? Meishio asked out of curiosity. Probably. Yuan nodded. What makes you think so? The way she's walking. I cannot feel any resistance from it. As for the others, you can tell when they slow down. Now that you mention it, she doesn't even have a drop of sweat on her. Meishio mumbled. 350 steps. 375 steps. 400 steps. She's only 100 steps away from the end of the lake. I can't believe my eyes. Do you think she could be cheating with some treasure? That's possible. The spectators, especially the other participants there, began suspecting Li Jinsi to be cheating because of her performance that was too ridiculous to believe. Chapter 862? Published at 18th of April 2022 6:29 and 23 seconds p.m. Chapter 862 If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 862, Li Jinsi's evaluation. 2. That's it. She must be cheating. After all, 400 steps is simply too ridiculous. It's impossible. Examiner, that participant must be cheating. You need to do something about it. The participants in Li Jinsi's examination began complaining to the examiners there, some of them even urging the examiners to stop the examination. Of course, these examiners were also suspicious of Li Jinsi's performance, but none of them dared to call her a cheater outright. After all, what if Li Jinsi's performance turned out to be real and that she was a monster who could walk 400 steps? They did not dare to risk offending such a genius even if it's the last thing they do. Whether she is genuine or not, we do not have the qualifications to make any decisions. The elders overseeing this examination will make those decisions. One of the examiners said to the participants there. Wah! It's clear that she's cheating. I heard the highest score ever recorded was only 170 steps by the founder of the Heavenly Academy. Are you telling me that some unknown girl nobody recognizes can somehow double that number? This is utterly ridiculous. The examiner's eyebrow twitched upon hearing the participants' words. Indeed, the highest score ever recorded was 170 steps, and Li Jinsi just walked her 410th step. If one thought about it logically, there was no way such a situation could be possible. However, anything is possible in the cultivation world. I will not repeat myself. The elders will make the decisions. If you're not content with my answer, you may leave this examination. The participants no longer dared to talk back after hearing such words, and they returned to watching Li Jinsi in silence. Meanwhile, unbeknownst to the spectators and even the examiners there, 7 figures suddenly appeared above the area where Li Jinsi was being evaluated. These 7 figures were sect masters of the 7 spirit academies, and they have all decided to personally oversee Li Jinsi's examination because of her unnatural performance. Think she's cheating? One of them asked out loud. I don't sense any treasures on her. Me neither. I heard from the examiner that did her first evaluation that she managed to make the crystal ball explode by pouring too much spiritual energy into it. One of them suddenly said. Just where did such a monster come from? She appears very young as well. Just so you all know, this girl will be joining my Universal Music Academy. Huh? Did you hit your head on your way here? Her talents will be wasted if we let her join your sect. She doesn't even play the instrument. And how do you know that? I can tell by her physique and demeanor. She's definitely the type to use a sword, so she should join my Formless Sword Academy. We can debate about this later. For now, let's just watch her. Sometime later, Li Jinsi made her 450th step. Hm? Li Jinsi's tranquil face slightly changed when she noticed some mysterious power restricting her movements, making it harder for her to move. Of course, it wasn't anything that could cripple her movements, and she could still move with relative ease. Looks like she's finally feeling it. Yuan said out loud while most people didn't notice anything different about Li Jinsi. Really? She still seems to be walking just fine. Chu Liuxiang said. It's not enough to really test her, but she is slowly approaching her limit. Of course, I still believe that she will make it out the lake. After taking her 460th step, the mysterious force intensified, making it much harder for her to move. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. When she tried to take her 476th step, Li Jinsi found it incredibly hard to even lift her leg, almost as though it was chained to an anchor that was already at the bottom of the lake. After taking a deep breath, Li Jinsi released her cultivation and her eyes turned red. Furthermore, her body began emitting a bloodthirsty aura that would slowly become visible to the eyes, making it seem as though she was enveloped by a red aura. That appearance? Yuan, didn't she also look like that during her first fight with you? Meishiu asked him. He nodded, yes. However, she looks a bit different now compared to back then, like she has more control over it. After activating her family's secret technique, Li Jinsi started walking again in her original pace, perhaps a little faster even, almost as though the mysterious force restraining her had disappeared. What kind of technique is she using? She's releasing such a tyrannical aura. I don't know, but I can tell that her body is growing increasingly stronger with every passing second. It reminds me of the forbidden technique Berserker's Bloodlust, which enhances one's body, granting them unrivaled strength at the cost of their sanity and control over their body and mind, turning them into mindless beasts. However, she doesn't appear to have gone mad, so it's probably a different technique. Her technique perfectly fits my Indomitable Flesh Academy's teaching, and it even resembles our most powerful cultivation technique. She must join our academy? Bullshit. She'll join my Formless Sword Academy. No, she will join my Universal Music Academy. We may mainly focus on instruments and the Tao of music, but we also have plenty of experts that can teach other things. While the 7 sect masters argued with each other, Li Jinsi took her 500th and final step, leaving the Silver Lake and returning to land. As she really did it? She really crossed the lake. Pretty much every spectator had their wide eyes on Li Jinsi at this moment, all of them feeling as though they were witnessing the beginning of a new legend. After crossing the lake, Li Jinsi deactivated her technique and walked around the lake until she returned to the participants and the examiners. Why are you looking at me like that? Should I not have left the lake and just walked around until I cannot move anymore? Li Jinsi asked the examiner with a calm yet questioning face. The examiners there were speechless. Chapter 863? Published at 18th of April 2022 6:29 and 23 seconds p.m. Chapter 863. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 863, Final Examination, and no. You have done enough. Here's your token, the examiner said after snapping out of his daze. However, just as he was about to hand Li Jinsi her token, the examiner quickly took it back and said, my mistake. I almost gave you the wrong one. The examiner took back the white token he was about to give Li Jinsi and handed her the red token instead. After accepting the token, Li Jinsi began making her way to the next examination. Should we introduce ourselves now or should we wait? The sect masters asked each other. Let's wait until after the 3rd examination. I want to see the full extent of her talents. I agree. She clearly has heaven-sent talent, but the next examination will test a different aspect of her talents. Meanwhile, in the 3rd examination area that is still considered the 2nd examination, Wang Ming and the others waited for their turn. In the middle of the room was a massive crystal suspended in midair that contained an immense amount of spiritual energy. Once it was Wang Ming's turn, he was told to sit before the crystal and try to absorb as much spiritual energy as he could from the crystal. Wang Ming closed his eyes and took a deep breath before he started absorbing the spiritual energy. The spiritual energy in the crystal quickly depleted, but once he absorbed around 65% of the spiritual energy, his progress slowed down tremendously. After absorbing about 70% of the crystal's spiritual energy, Wang Ming gave up, as he was unable to store any more spiritual energy in his body. The moment Wang Ming stopped absorbing the spiritual energy, the crystal immediately began filling back up with spiritual energy until it was completely full again. 73% in about 3 minutes, huh? Very good. Here's your token. The examiner handed Wang Ming his 3rd red token. What kind of test is this? Wang Ming asked out of curiosity. It tests how fast you can absorb spiritual energy, which is basically your cultivation talent. The examiner said. What about the previous examination? The one where we had to walk on this lake? That tests your innate talent, your true potential, and it is undoubtedly the most important test in this whole examination. I see. Wang Bingbing sat in front of the crystal after Wang Ming left for the real 3rd examination. A few minutes later, Wang Bingbing achieved 75%. Congratulations. Here is your token. The examiner handed Wang Bingbing a red token. Shi Lang went next, and he also achieved 73% in 3 minutes. Seriously? Why am I always achieving the same result as him? Shi Lang sighed as he went to the next examination. Meanwhile, Li Jinxi showed up in a separate room and waited for her turn at the crystal. Many minutes later, Li Jinxi sat before the crystal and began absorbing its spiritual energy. What the hell is this speed? The examiner was shocked when he noticed how fast Li Jinxi was emptying the crystal. And in less than a minute, Li Jinxi managed to absorb all of the spiritual energy from the crystal, leaving the examiner speechless. Only 7 people have managed to completely absorb all spiritual energy since the founding of the 7 Spirit Academies. This will make her the 8th person. Here is your token. The examiner handed a red token to Li Jinxi with trembling hands. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. The next examination is where I get to hunt magical beasts, is that correct? Li Jinxi suddenly asked the examiner. Why, yes, that's correct. In order to pass the 3rd examination, you must hunt magical beasts. How powerful are the magical beasts? She continued to ask. Well, they are mostly as powerful as a peak spirit apprentice, but there are some as strong as peak spirit warriors, and there is even a magical beast with the power of a spirit master. Hm? Is there something wrong? The examiner asked Li Jinxi when he noticed the disappointed look on her face. The strongest magical beast is only as strong as a spirit master? She asked. Yes. He nodded. Li Jinxi sighed, and without explaining anything, she made her way to the next examination. Did I waste my time by coming here? She wondered inwardly as she entered the portal to the next examination. Upon exiting the portal, Li Jinxi found herself in a camp somewhere inside the wilderness with a large group of participants gathered there. Welcome to the final examination and congratulations on making it this far. For this examination you will need to acquire points by hunting magical beasts, and in order to pass this examination, you will need at least 100 points. Not all magical beasts reward the same amount of points, and the stronger the magical beast, the more points you'll receive. During this examination, the participants are no longer separated from each other, and you can hinder others' progression. However, keep in mind that you're not allowed to kill other participants. Before I send you outside this camp, I will give you all something that will count your points. The examiner handed a jade slip and continued, Do you have any questions? One of the participants there raised his hand and asked, Do we have a time limit? The examiner nodded, You have until the disciple examination officially ends in 4 days. If you're too hurt to continue or just want to give up, you can return to the camp and let me or any examiner know. Although there are experts scattered around the examination area to lower the casualty rate, you are not completely safe from all danger, so death is still very possible. In fact, there is a 30% casualty rate for this part of the examination. You may leave now if you're scared. After answering all of the participants' questions, the examiner sent them into the wilderness. The moment Li Jinxi entered the wilderness, she retrieved a large greatsword from her spatial ring and began running around the area hunting magical beasts like a maniac, even interfering with other participants by stealing their prey, which quickly caused an uproar amongst the participants. Chapter 864. Published at 18th of April 2022 6:29 and 23 seconds p.m. Chapter 864. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 864. 7 Sect Masters. Hey. Who the fuck are you? How dare you steal my prey? One of Li Jinxi's many victims cried out loud after getting his magical beast stolen right before his very eyes. You're running away now. Get back here. The victim tried to catch Li Jinxi when she ran away, but he was unable to catch even her shadow and gave up shortly after. Not far away, Li Jinxi encountered another participant fighting with a magical beast and also stole those points. What the? How dare you steal from me? Do you know who I am? However, Li Jinxi ignored this participant and continued to hunt magical beasts. The sect masters watching this from the sky were amused by Li Jinxi's actions. Do you think she's deliberately hindering the others? One of them asked out loud. I don't think so, but if she is, I cannot think of any reasons why she would do such a thing. In less than 1 hour, Li Jinxi managed to acquire enough points for her to complete the examination. However, despite that, she continued to hunt magical beasts. Somewhere in the wilderness, Wang Ming was fighting a 4th-level spirit warrior magical beast by himself when a figure leaped out from behind him and killed the magical beast before he could land the last strike. Wang Ming immediately fumed, You dare steal my prey? However, he stopped when he saw the face of the perpetrator. Li Jinxi? What the hell are you doing here? Wang Ming stared at her with wide eyes. If I recall correctly, you said that you didn't want to participate in the examination. Seeing that it was Wang Ming, Li Jinxi didn't immediately run away like she normally would. I heard that you get to fight a lot of powerful magical beasts during this examination, so I came here, she calmly responded. Huh? You came here just to fight magical beasts? I expected nothing less from you. Wang Ming shook his head with a bittersweet smile. And he continued, well, I don't really care about your reasons for being here, but can you not take away my points? I'd rather not stay here longer than needed if I can. I will think about it. Li Jinxi nodded, and she sped off without giving Wang Ming any chance to respond. Damn gorilla woman. All she cares about is fighting. After sighing, Wang Ming traveled the opposite direction of Li Jinxi and went a little further before he started hunting magical beasts again. Li Jinxi would eventually encounter the other members of the Demon Sealing faction, and she would steal their prey at least once. Of course, the others were as surprised as Wang Ming after realizing it was her. How long are you going to stay here? Hong Xiuquan asked her. Until I am satisfied, she calmly replied. You should leave some magical beasts behind for the other participants. I doubt there are unlimited magical beasts here. Wang Bingbing said to her during their meeting. Not my problem, she coldly said before returning to her hunt. Why even bother coming here? The magical beasts here cannot compare to the ones you find in the wild. If you're looking for strong magical beasts, you're in the wrong place. Wu Zhao said to her. I didn't think the magical beasts here were so weak, but since I am already here, I might as well enjoy myself. Hey, this is the third time you've stolen my kill. Aren't we from the same faction? Or do you have some sort of grudge against me? Shimurong cried out loud. Li Jinxi merely shrugged before leaving the scene. Meanwhile, the sect masters began debating whether they should stop Li Jinxi before she kills all of the magical beasts there. We should probably stop her before she kills all of the magical beasts, right? She already has enough points for a red token, so there's no point in continuing. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. I agree. We also have more qualifying participants than ever this year. It would be a shame if we run out of magical beasts before they even get a chance to fight one. Alright, let's stop her. The 7 sect master quickly came to a decision. Sometime later, they appeared before Li Jinxi like ghosts and surrounded her. Of course, this startled Li Jinxi, who mistook it for an ambush and prepared herself for battle. Wait, we're not here to fight. One of the sect masters quickly raised his hands and said, We're sect masters of the 7 spirit academies. As much as we'd like to continue watching you dominate the examination, it would be problematic if you kill all of the magical beasts on the first day of the examination. Is that so? Li Jinxi did not argue with these 7 sect masters since they were much stronger than her. Then I will take my leave now. How do I leave this place? One of the sect masters created a portal and pointed at it. Li Jinxi did not hesitate and entered the portal. After entering the portal, Li Jinxi found herself in a large room with 7 chairs. The sect masters entered the room after Li Jinxi and took a seat in these chairs. This part is normally done by the elders in charge of the examination, but we will take their place for this special occasion. Meanwhile, the spectators were shocked when they saw the 7 sect masters' sudden appearance. Holy shit! Aren't they the sect masters of the 7 spirit academies? I have never seen all 7 of them gathered in the same place before. They must have shown up for that genius. I'm not surprised in the slightest if you consider the ridiculous talent of that fairy. Hell, I wouldn't be surprised even if their ancestors personally decide to show up. Imagine being interviewed by all 7 sect masters of the 7 spirit academies. This is so exciting. Inside the interview room. Can you introduce yourself for us? Li Jinxi, she calmly responded. Chapter 865. Published at 17th of April 2022 4:09 and 12 seconds p.m. Chapter 865. 865 If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 865. The sect master's offers. After introducing her name, Li Jinxi returned to being silent. A few moments of awkward silence later, one of the sect masters spoke. Is that it? Li Jinxi nodded. The sect masters were taken aback by her response. Can such a short introduction even be considered one? What about your family? Can you tell us a little about your background? They must be a prominent power to give birth to a genius like you. It's nothing special. They are only an ordinary cultivation family. Li Jinxi calmly responded. She didn't want to waste her breath talking about her family. Ordinary family? There's no need to be humble. Which city are they located in? Li Jinsi decided to remain silent. The sect masters looked at each other. In their mind, the reason Li Jinsi didn't want to talk about her family is most likely due to her mysterious background. She must be from a hidden family. Li Jinsi suddenly spoke. Why am I here being questioned? I thought I had already finished the examination. You don't know? This is the last part of the examination where we interview you. After the interview, each of us will decide if we want you to join our sect, and you will get to choose from the sect that wants you. Oh, Li Jinsi mumbled in a low voice. She didn't really pay much attention when the elders explained the examination to the participants, so she didn't know much about it. Anyways, let's move on from the introduction and get to the main topic. Can you tell us why you want to join our sect and which sect you hope to join today? The sect masters narrowed their eyes on Li Jinsi, patiently awaiting for her response. However, Li Jinsi's response would leave them speechless. I don't want to join any sects, she calmly said, shocking the sect masters and the spectators alike. What? Then why did you participate in the disciple examination? The sect master of the Heavenly Academy couldn't help but stand up and ask her. I only wanted to fight magical beasts. I came here because I heard that there would be powerful magical beasts here. Li Jinsi revealed the ridiculous reason why she participated in the examination. So you have no intention of joining any of our sect? One of the sect masters asked for confirmation. Li Jinsi silently nodded. The sect masters turned to look at each other with perplexed emotions on their faces. They have never been put in such a difficult and embarrassing situation before. If you don't mind me asking, do you currently belong to another sect? The sect master of the Heavenly Academy suddenly asked. No. Li Jinsi shook her head. Is there a particular reason why you're not in a sect? I don't like being bound to one place. Li Jinsi immediately responded. I see, then. If we do not restrict you to the sect and allow you to travel as you please, would you be more willing to join one of our sects? The sect master of the Lonely River Academy asked. Ji Linshi pondered for a moment before nodding her head. Maybe. The sect masters smiled inwardly when they realized that there is still a chance to recruit Li Jinsi. Even if she doesn't join their own sect, they need her to join at least one of the 7 spirit academies. After all, if other sects acquire Li Jinsi, it would be disastrous for the 7 spirit academies in the future, as their position within spirit heaven could be challenged with just Li Jinsi's existence alone. Alright. I have decided. We're skipping the interview part. I will now offer you a spot in the Heavenly Academy, and it will not just be any ordinary spot. The sect master of the Heavenly Academy spoke. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. And he continued, if you join my sect, I will immediately make you a prime disciple, allow you access to all of our techniques without any limitations, give you unlimited resources to assist your cultivation and much more. If there is something you want that isn't stated, I will make it happen. Of course, you will also retain your freedom so you can go out of the sect whenever you want and for however long you want. My Heavenly Academy is the #1 sect in the entirety of Spirit Heaven, so there is almost nothing that we cannot do for you. The other sect masters were shocked speechless by the sect master of the Heavenly Academy. They didn't think he would offer so much so quickly. Hell, he might as well offer her the entire Heavenly Academy. However, as ridiculous as the offer was, this made it almost impossible for the other sects to challenge the Heavenly Academy, who was superior in terms of techniques, prowess and wealth. After a moment of silence, another sect master raised his hand and said, My Formless Sword Academy will offer you the same deal. You use the sword, right? Although we're not as wealthy and powerful as the Heavenly Academy, our sect has the most sword masters and sword techniques in all of Spirit Heaven. Join us and we'll nurture you into the greatest sword master this world has ever seen. The other sect masters also gave Li Jinsi an offer shortly after. While none of them could match the Heavenly Academy's offer, they had to try. Do you think she will join them? Chu Liuxiang suddenly asked. Who knows? Li Jinsi is an eccentric woman. I can never tell what she's thinking. Yuan chuckled. I don't think she'll join them. Meishu said. What makes you think so? Yuan asked. It's just a feeling. Meanwhile, back at Li Jinsi's location, many minutes passed in complete silence while the sect masters patiently waited for her response. Eventually, Li Jinsi opened her mouth and said, Thank you all for the generous offer, but I must decline. The sect masters sighed inwardly after hearing her response. May I hear your reasoning? The Heavenly Academy's sect master asked. Li Jinsi nodded and said, I have a goal that I really want to achieve. If I could achieve my goal by joining your sect, then I would do so without hesitation, but I do not believe your sects will help me achieve my goal. Therefore I will have to decline. What is your goal? Li Jinsi took a deep breath before responding. There is a person I want to surpass. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 866. Published at 17th of April 2022 4:09 and 11 seconds p.m. Chapter 866. 866 If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 866. Escalating situation. Someone you want to surpass? With your talents, there isn't anyone in this realm that can possibly match you. Sect Master of the Heavenly Academy said. Li Jinsi sighed after hearing such words. That confirms nobody here can help me achieve my goal. If you really think I am currently the most talented to walk this land, then you have no idea what's truly out there. Forget it. I have already made my decision. I won't be joining any of the sects here. Let me leave this place now. The sect masters exchanged frowned looks with each other. If Li Jinsi refuses to join them, she could become a huge threat to them in the future, and that future wouldn't be very far away either, not with her ridiculous talents. Suddenly, one of the sect masters there suddenly stood up and scoffed. Enough of this bullshit. Sect Master's son? You, shut up. The sect master of the Universal Music Academy, Sun Hao, shouted. He then pointed at Li Jinsi and continued, Who do you think you are, huh? I don't care which family you came from or how talented you are, but how dare you come here and mock us, the 7 Spirit Academies? How dare you come here and participate in our examination and then tell us that you had no intentions of joining from the start? I have never been mocked in such a manner before. The other sect masters remained silent after hearing Sun Hao's words, mostly because it made a lot of sense. The only reason Li Jinsi can be so relaxed right now is because of her talents that these sect masters covet. If it were anybody else, they would have probably been punished with death by now. However, now that it was clear to them that Li Jinsi does not plan on joining their sect, it would be for the best if they got rid of her so that nobody else could have her. Yuan? This doesn't look good? Meishio turned to look at him with a worried look on her face. He nodded. I know. After a moment of silence he said, Meishio, Lulu, the both of you stay here. Xiaohua, we're going back. What are you going to do? As much as I hate to say this, Li Jinsi is half responsible for her situation. She could have worded herself better, Chu Liuxiang said. I know she's in the wrong, but I can't just stand here and do nothing. I will, at the very least, make sure that she's safe. We can deal with the specifics afterward. After putting down Meishio and Chu Liuxiang, Yuan flew back to the square with Xiaohua following beside him. Since he was in a hurry, he flew at his highest possible speed, which was multiple times faster than before, and it would only be a matter of time before he returned to the square with the 7 elders. Meanwhile, the situation between Li Jinsi and the sect masters only got worse. Say something. Did you purposefully come here just to piss us off or what? I don't care how talented you are. If you are not our ally, then I will deal with you accordingly. The sect master of the Universal Music Academy released his cultivation, overwhelming Li Jinsi with the intense pressure of a spirit king. Li Jinsi's body suddenly lowered until she was nearly on her knees, but she managed to react in time and barely prevented her knees from touching the floor. The sect masters were shocked to see a 3rd-level spirit master resist the aura of a spirit king, regardless of their talents. However, this only further convinced them that Li Jinsi is a threat that must be removed if she refuses to be on their side. If you want to read more chapters, visit Pan Novel, Calm Sect Master Sun, calm down a bit. Regardless of her actions, she is still a junior, and we are being watched by millions of people right now. The Heavenly Academy's sect master said to Sun Hao using spiritual sense. Humph, I wouldn't care even if we're being watched by the whole world. This junior needs to be taught a lesson for looking down on her seniors. Also, it would be dangerous to let an untamed monster like her wander this world. Heaven knows what she is capable of in the future. Sun Hao said. I know. Let's give her one more chance to join us before we decide on anything. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. Fine. Sun Hao stopped pressuring Li Jinsi the next moment. Ha. Ke. Li Jinsi breathed heavily with her body soaked in sweat. Even though she had to resist Sun Hao's pressure for a few moments, it was enough to drain almost all of her energy. These people are strong. Much stronger than Yuan when I first fought him. she cried inwardly. However, despite her body and instincts trembling in fear, her heart was actually burning with excitement. These people, I want to fight them. Do not be mistaken. This does not mean that I have forgiven you for your sins. Sun Hao said, snapping Li Jinxi out of her daze. Li Jinxi coldly snorted, if you're expecting me to apologize for my actions, it won't happen. Why, you disrespectful little bit. Before Sun Hao could release his anger, the sect master of the Heavenly Academy stepped forward and said, what you did here today not only disrespected our 7 spirit academies, but it also mocked us, who came all the way out here to invite you to join our sect. So you're here to specifically recruit me? Li Jinxi suddenly asked. Yes, that's right. We, the sect masters, do not normally intervene in disciple examinations. Hearing such words, Li Jinxi could only snort coldly, really? But I don't recall asking for any of your presents. You came here on your own accord and now you're blaming me for wasting your time? This bitch has zero respect for us. She may be talented but she's clearly brainless. Sun Hao gritted his teeth in anger. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 867. Published at 17th of April 2022 4:09 and 10 seconds p.m. Chapter 867. 867 If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 867. Death Note: young child, I will give you one last chance. If you join us, we will forget about this incident and make you the strongest cultivator in spirit heaven. However, if you refuse, then I, and the others here no longer have any reason to continue protecting you. The sect master of the Heavenly Academy said to Li Jinxi, offering her a final chance to join their sections. I refuse. Li Jinxi immediately rejected his offer, and it was done so in a manner that did not have even the slightest bit of hesitation. The sect master trembled slightly from anger, but he quickly regained control over his emotions. Is that so? How regrettable. A talent of your level. We might never see it again. The sect master then sat down and closed his eyes. You may do as you please, Sect Master Sunday. I have been waiting for this. Sun Hao immediately released his cultivation base again, instantly flattening the chair behind him. However, this pressure was not as strong as before, so Li Jinxi was able to endure it without feeling helpless. He's going easy on me? Li Jinxi wondered inwardly. Sun Hao suddenly retrieved a beautiful zither and said, don't worry, I won't kill you so quickly. Disrespectful juniors like you need to be taught a proper lesson. He then pulled a single string on the zither, creating a beautiful yet crisp noise that echoed in the room. Hearing this music note, Li Jinxi subconsciously retrieved her great sword and placed it in front of her, and she could feel something collide with her sword the very next instant, sending her flying backwards. Li Jinxi proceeded to fly straight out of the building and into this empty and spacious area. Sun Hao calmly walked outside and said, if you can resist 3 of my strikes, I will let you live. How about it? Does that last hit count? Li Jinxi asked. Sun Hao smiled and said, you want to be a smartass as well? I too can play that game. And no, it doesn't count since I only talked about it after releasing that strike, so you still need to block 3 more. Very well. I'll accept your challenge. Li Jinxi nodded. Sun Hao didn't say anything else and took a sitting position, but he did not sit on the floor. Instead, he hovered in the air with the zither on his lap. The other sect masters also came outside to spectate their challenge. Then here comes my first strike. After taking a deep breath, Sun Hao began playing the zither. Li Jinxi immediately prepared herself for the attack, but nothing happened even many moments later, and only music came from Sun Hao's zither. Furthermore, it was a very pleasant-sounding music. This music? What is this nauseating feeling? Li Jinxi quickly realized that she could barely stand straight after listening to this music. First note, note of destruction. Ting. A very distinct and clear noise suddenly resounded, snapping Li Jinxi out of her daze. Bang. Li Jinxi suddenly felt something incredibly powerful struck her greatsword, which sent her flying back for another 50 meters before she finally touched the floor and began rolling like a metal can. However, she quickly stood back up with minor injuries. Not bad. Sun Hao chuckled. Then I will now begin my second strike. Sun Hao did not stop playing his zither this entire time, so music continued to fill the area. This music? It's making me lose consciousness. Li Jinxi had to bite her lips until it bled just to keep herself conscious. Second note, note of annihilation. Ding. Li Jinsi could feel an immense amount of spiritual energy flying towards her direction, and it was definitely enough to be fatal to even someone like her, but she couldn't avoid it. Hiya! Li Jinsi suddenly roared, and her body became enveloped by a crimson aura that reeked with bloodlust. Li Jinsi could feel all of the muscles in her body being strengthened past their limits, making her feel more confident blocking the incoming attack. However, when the attack finally struck her greatsword, it not only knocked Li Jinsi 100 meters away, but it also shattered her greatsword into hundreds of pieces. Fortunately for Li Jinsi, the greatsword shattered after absorbing most of Sun Hao's attack, saving her life by a hair's width. However, this also meant that Li Jinsi would not have a weapon to defend against the next strike. If you don't have another weapon, you can use your body, Sun Hao said with a cold grin on his face. Li Jinsi looked down at her own body to see that it was covered in cuts from the previous attack, and her entire body was soaked in her own blood. I might die today, she mumbled inwardly, yet she wasn't feeling afraid of death even in the slightest. Meanwhile, outside the square with the 7 elders. Do you think Sect Master Sun's really going to kill someone as talented as her? If he's convinced that there's no chance to recruit her. Well, do you think he's convinced? After a moment of silence, Elder Mon from the Universal Music Academy said, Definitely. Iche. What a pity. Suddenly, the 7 elders stopped talking and turned to face north when they sensed 2 unfathomable presence approaching their direction. Who's that? What a powerful pressure. The elders were shocked. Ichem? Isn't that? Once these 2 figures were close enough for the elders to see their faces, it shocked the elders even more. That's the kid from earlier today? Why is he coming back here? A few moments later, Yuan and Xiaohua stopped in front of the 7 elders. Take me to that place. Yuan pointed at the projection showing Li Jinsi and the sect masters. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. Huh. The elders showed puzzled looks on their faces. That girl is my friend and I would like to stop them before things get out of hand. Yuan gave them a brief explanation. Your friend? Unfortunately, your friend just offended the 7 spirit academies and of all people, their sect masters. She's going to die and there's nothing you can do to stop it. Elder Mon sneered. Yuan narrowed his eyes and said, I don't recall asking for your commentary. Little bastard. I can see why you're that woman's friend. You both lack respect towards your seniors. Elder Mon roared at him. However, Yuan wasn't even paying attention to the elder. He was focused on the projection with Li Jinsi, as Shed just successfully blocked Sun Hao's second attack, but it was clear that she would not be able to block the next one. Xiaohua. Yuan mumbled in a low voice. Xiaohua did not need to hear anything else from Yuan to understand his intentions, and she released her cultivation base. A spirit king. The elders immediately recognized Xiaohua's pressure that was even stronger than their sect master's aura. Yuan approached these elders and stared at them with immense killing intent in his gaze. If you do not let me help my friend, I will trample the 7 spirit academies until there is nothing left. The elders trembled in fear before Yuan's killing intent. Although his killing intent is already plenty strong in the real world, it was on another level in cultivation online, and it was definitely more than enough to terrify the souls out of these spirit lord elders. I will open the portal to that place for you. The Heavenly Academy's elder was the first one to break, and he immediately created a portal for Yuan. Thanks. Yuan didn't say anything else and flew right into the portal with Xiaohua following him from behind. Meanwhile, Li Jinsi was prepared to block the final attack even if she had to use her own body. He's really going to kill her with his last strike. Are you sure this is the right choice? Some of the sect masters there were still hesitant to let a genius like Li Jinsi perish under such a situation, especially the Healing Spirit Academy's sect master. If she is not our ally, then she can only be our enemy. And I doubt she will change her mind after all of this is done. Might as well get rid of her before she could harm us. The sect master of the Heavenly Academy sighed. The other sect masters didn't say anything else and watched as Sun Hao prepared to release his final strike. If you can survive this last strike, I will not only forgive you, I will even do anything you want. A massive grin appeared on Sun Hao's face as he pulled the strings on the zither in a chaotic rhythm. Final note, death note. Sun Hao released the attack with the strength of a spirit king behind it. There was simply no way for Li Jinsi to survive this attack, and she instinctively knew this the moment she felt the spiritual energy of the attack. Damn it. Li Jinsi sighed inwardly as the attack reached in front of her body. Heaven-severing zither arts. Suddenly, another zither note resounded in the area, and before anyone there could react, this zither note collided with Sun Hao's zither note, instantly destroying it. Who goes there? Sun Hao exclaimed in a shocked voice after witnessing what just happened. Two figures appeared before Li Jinsi the very next moment, standing between Li Jinsi and the sect masters, and one of them was holding onto a beautiful black zither in his grasp. Why Yuan? What are you doing here? Li Jinsi mumbled in a low voice. She knew it was him even without seeing his face, as she could recognize him just from looking at his back. I'm here to save you, obviously, he said with a calm smile on his face. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 868. Published at 17th of April 2022 4:09 and 9 seconds p.m. Chapter 868. 868 If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 868. Persuading the sect masters. Who the hell are you, and how did you get in here? Sun Hao asked Yuan with a frown on his face. He not only blocked my most powerful zither note, but he did so as a spirit lord. Sun Hao and the other sect masters were wary of Yuan's presence. My identity isn't of any importance, and I came here by asking those elders at the square, Yuan said. He didn't want to give them his identity since he was being watched by millions of people right now. Of course, it didn't really matter if his identity is exposed to the players watching, but he'd rather avoid it if possible. You bastard. There's no way they'd let you in here of their own free will. If you have harmed even a hair of their body, I will make you regret it. Sun Hao growled. Don't worry, I didn't touch them. Though, I did threaten them a little, but that was inevitable as I wouldn't have been able to come here if I didn't. Yuan shrugged. So, what do you hope to achieve by coming here? The sect master of the Heavenly Academy suddenly spoke out loud. I am here to persuade you all to forgive my friend. No doubt, she was wrong for coming here without any intentions of joining your sects, and she was a little rude, but I don't think that warrants a death sentence. So you don't think that mocking the sect masters of the 7 spirit academies, the most powerful sects in this realm, should be punished with death? Sun Hao asked. Of course not. That's simply unreasonable. If you think that's punishable by death, then should I just kill all of you for trying to kill my friend, which is an even bigger offense in my eyes? Yuan narrowed his eyes at the sect masters. Arrogant little bastard. I can see why you're friends. In fact, I wouldn't be shocked if you were a couple. How Sun gritted his teeth in anger. Do you really think you can kill the 7 of us? You're just a mere spirit lord. The Heavenly Academy sect master couldn't help but laugh out loud after hearing Yuan's outrageous claims. Suddenly, a voice resounded inside his head. Sect Master Li, don't underestimate them. That little girl beside him is a spirit king. Elder Lang had just warned the sect master of the Heavenly Academy about Xiaohua's prowess. I see. The reason you're acting so arrogant is because of that little girl beside you, right? However, even if she's a spirit king, there is only one of her while there are 7 of us. Sect Master Li smiled. It's him? Xiaohua. No, I never planned on letting her fight for me. Although she is also more than enough to handle all 7 of you by herself, I don't want to trouble her with my problem. If you came here to piss us off even more, then you're doing a great job. However, if you're here to help your friend, then you should have never come here. The sect master of the Formless Sword Academy said. Then how about this? I will fight the 7 of you. If I win, you will let my friend go and forget everything that happened between us today. If any of you manage to beat me, I will give you this. Yuan retrieved a box before showing the contents inside to the sect masters. Inside this box was a bunch of beautiful crimson leaves, but none of the sect masters recognized it, except one. Leaves from a golden celestial tree. And judging from the intense scent, it's at least 100,000 years old. The sect master of the Healing Spirit Academy exclaimed after she picked up its unique scent. Although the other sect masters still aren't aware of its value, they could somehow take an educated guess from the shaken look on her face. I have never seen her this shocked before. Those crimson leaves must be extremely valuable. Sect Master Li thought to himself. There are 21 blades of crimson leaves in this box. Do we have a deal? Yuan suddenly asked them. We have a deal. The Healing Spirit Academy's sect master immediately responded without any hesitation, taking the others by surprise. Sect Master Xiahou. How can you agree to fighting him without even asking for our approval? I don't agree to. However, before the sect master could even finish his sentence, Sect Master Xiahou interrupted. With those 21 leaves I can concoct 7 golden aptitude pills for the 7 of us. Do I need to further elaborate the meaning behind those words? Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. G golden aptitude pills? And 7 of them? Are you sure about this, Sect Master Xiaoho? Sect Master Li asked her, seemingly in disbelief. The other sect masters also appeared to be filled with shock at this moment. What's a golden aptitude pill? Yuan turned to ask Xiaohua. It's an extremely valuable pill that can boost one's innate talent up to 50% depending on the quality of the pill, and it requires the leaves from a golden celestial tree to create such pills. When did you acquire such a treasure, Brother Yuan? She asked him after explaining about the pill. We found it within the Demon's Valley right before coming here. In fact, we have the entire golden celestial tree. Yuan said with a smile on his face. The whole thing? Xiaohua was dumbfounded to learn such information, as she was aware of the golden celestial tree's true value. Meanwhile, the 7 sect masters finished their conversation. Okay, we agree to play your little game. Sect Master Li said out loud. Great. Yuan nodded. Since I am already in the mood, I shall go first. Sun Hao said. You're going to fight me one by one? I had planned on fighting all 7 of you at once, though. Yuan said in a nonchalant voice. The sect masters were left speechless by such baffling arrogance behind Yuan's words. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 869. Published at 17th of April 2022 4:09 and 7 seconds p.m. Chapter 869. 869 If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 869. Fighting the Sect Masters, you wanted to fight all of us at once? Sect Master Li mumbled in a dazed voice. I have had enough of your arrogant bullshit. Sun Hao could no longer endure his anger, as he was mocked by not just one junior but 2 juniors in a single day. Note of annihilation. Sun Hao began playing the zither, creating a powerful zither note that had about 70% of his power into it. In response, Yuan also started playing the zither. Heaven-severing zither arts. Yuan's zither note collided with Sun Hao's zither note once again. However, instead of just canceling each other out like previously, Yuan's zither note overpowered Sun Hao's zither note and continued to fly at Sun Hao even after destroying his zither note. Scatter. Sun Hao hastily swept his fingers across all strings on his zither, creating this chaotic sound and barely defending himself against Yuan's zither note. This brat has some ability. He gritted his teeth from frustration. The other sect masters also realized that Yuan wasn't just all talk from that exchange alone. 2 cultivation geniuses. How did it come to this? Sect Master Li frowned inwardly as he was beginning to regret their decisions that ended up offending not 1, but 2 cultivation geniuses. Don't underestimate me, brat. Sun Hao suddenly roared, and his aura skyrocketed as he pulled all of the strings on his zither in an aggressive manner. Note of 9 hells. An immense amount of spiritual energy that threatened to destroy everything it touched flew toward Yuan's direction. Yuan didn't even blink at the incoming attack and used heaven-severing zither arts once again. Impossible. Sun Hao's eyes widened with shock when Yuan's zither note severed his most powerful zither note with seemingly 0 effort. Yuan's zither note continued to fly at Sun Hao after destroying his zither note, and before anyone could react, the zither note severed Sun Hao's left arm from his body. Sun Hao tumbled to the ground after losing his arm, and the strings on his zither even snapped. Sect Master Sun. The other sect masters quickly went to stand between Yuan and Sun Hao. You injured my friend and you even tried to kill her, so I returned the debt by taking your arm. That's fair, right? Why, you bastard? How dare you? Sun Hao gritted his teeth in anger. Now that he's lost an arm, it would be near impossible to play the zither with the same agility and stability as before. Hell, he might even have to give up the zither. Sect Master Sun here. Quickly eat this. Sect Master Xiaoho handed him a recovery pill that immediately stopped his bleeding and even closed up his wound within seconds. Do you feel like fighting me at once now? Yuan asked them after giving them some time to breathe. The sect masters narrowed their eyes at him. I will handle this. The sect master of the Formless Sword Academy suddenly stepped forward with a majestic green sword in his grasp. My name is Bainju, sect master of the Formless Sword Academy. I hereby challenge you to a life or death challenge. Bai Ju introduced himself as he pointed his sword at Yuan. Sect Master Bai? What are you doing? The other sect masters were shocked by his words. Don't say anything. This is my decision. Seeing this, Yuan also retrieved his sword and summoned the Empyrean Overlord. The soul weapon. He can wield both a sword and a zither? Bai Ju was inwardly shocked to see Yuan suddenly pull out a huge-ass sword. The other sect masters felt the same after seeing the Empyrean Overlord. After snapping out of his daze, Bai Ju made his move first. Formless sword art, formless edge. A blue arc of light followed Bai Ju's sword as it flew toward Yuan's neck. After taking a split second to analyze the attack, Yuan also released his own attack. However, it was not a technique. Instead, Yuan just swung his sword ordinarily while using his sword aura to support it. He can use sword aura? Bai Ju was shocked inwardly when he felt an exceedingly sharp aura coming from Yuan's sword. The two attacks collided the very next second. Yuan would be pushed back a couple of steps from the exchange, but Bai Ju was sent flying backwards. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. Impossible. Even Sect Master Bai cannot match him using a sword. He can already use sword aura at such a young age? The other sect masters were beginning to wonder if they'd offended an existence that they shouldn't have provoked. Meanwhile, at the Heavenly Academy. Elder Nya. We have an emergency. A disciple rushed into his room without knocking. What happened? Senior Nya asked with a slight frown on his annoyed face. The sect masters. They are. The disciple didn't know how to explain the situation without making it sound too bad. Hurry up and speak. What happened to the sect masters? Senior Nya raised his voice. They are being beaten by some stranger. What? How is that even possible? Senior Nya immediately doubted this information. It's true. Watch the disciple examination broadcast. Senior Nya didn't say anything else and retrieved a treasure that allowed him to spectate the disciple examination. After changing the scene multiple times, he finally halted at a specific broadcast where all 7 sect masters of the 7 spirit academies was gathered, and they appeared to be in trouble. What happened to Sect Master Sun? Why is he missing an arm? And most importantly, why is he there? Senior Nya exclaimed after seeing Sun Hao's condition and Yuan's familiar face. This is what happened. The disciple proceeded to explain the whole situation to Senior Nya, who was speechless by the end of it. Fuck. This is disastrous. Senior Nya was so dumbfounded by the situation that he couldn't even think properly. Out of everyone in this world, they had to pick a fight with him? These idiots. Damn it. I need to stop them before things really get out of hand. Tell everybody in the sect to stand by. After giving the disciple this warning, Senior Nya rushed outside and disappeared from the sect. Meanwhile, the other 6 sects had already gathered many experts and started making their way towards the examination area to assist their sect masters that were clearly in trouble. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 870. Published at 18th of April 2022 11:18 and 7 seconds AM. Chapter 870. 870. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 870. You know him? Don't think you've won yet. I'm just getting started. Bai Ju shouted as he got back to his feet and closed their distance again. You're also not the only one who can use sword aura. Bai Ju swung his sword that carried sword aura this time. However, it was clear that his sword aura was nowhere near as powerful and refined as Yuan's sword aura. Yuan didn't say anything and proceeded to block all of Bai Ju's attacks with ease. What should we do? At this rate, our reputation will... Is there even anything we can do at this point? If we attack him at once, that would be akin to admitting our defeat, that we cannot defeat him by ourselves. Who here thinks they can defeat him? The sect masters talked amongst themselves as Yuan and Bai Ju fought each other. Regardless if we defeat him or not today, our reputation has already suffered irreparable damage. Sect Master Li sighed in a dispirited manner. So you're saying we should just gang up on him and finish this? One of them asked. Sect Master Li narrowed his eyes at Yuan, who was casually fighting Bai Ju, even looking like he was fooling around. I'm not so sure that we would be able to defeat him even if all 7 of us fought him together. What? Are you seriously saying that? Sect Master Li nodded with a serious expression. This person must be the one she wants to surpass. His abilities are truly incomprehensible and unfathomable. However, as the sect masters of the 7 spirit academies, we cannot simply run away in such a situation, or we would become laughingstocks. Even if we lose our faces, we must take him down. The other sect masters silently nodded their heads. Bang! Ah! Bainju suddenly screamed, causing the other sect masters to turn their heads. Sect Master Bai, are you okay? Sect Master Zaihu shouted in a concerned voice after seeing the blood flowing from his mouth. Why yes, this is nothing, he said in a mumbling voice. The sect masters suddenly approached them and surrounded Yuan. Oh! Yuan stopped his movements and looked at the sect masters around him with a calm expression on his face. I told you guys to fight me together at the beginning, but you didn't want to listen. Now it looks like I am bullying you guys. Yuan smiled at their frowning faces. If you want to read more chapters, visit Pond Novel C. O.M. Are you really a spirit lord? Or are you hiding your real cultivation? Sect Master Li suddenly asked him. Of course this is my real cultivation. I don't even know how to hide my cultivation. Yuan casually shrugged. Then let me ask you another question. Why are you doing this? I don't believe that you came all the way here just to save your friend. You actually came here with the intentions to fight us, didn't you? I will be lying if I say that I am not enjoying our fight. However, I am not that bored to come here just to fight. I truly came here with the intentions to save my friend, but I got a little angry when I saw the state of my friend, so I wanted to punish you all a little. If you want, we can stop this nonsense right now. Of course, that means you will forfeit the challenge and forgive my friend. Sect Master Li snorted and said, This is no longer about the challenge. You came here and made a mockery out of us. Our reputation took a massive hit because of you and your friend. When someone slaps you in the face, it is only natural you kill them. Yuan sighed. Is that so? What a pity. He suddenly lifted his sword and pointed it at them. Don't worry, I won't kill any of you, but expect to lose a limb or two today. The sect masters didn't say anything and took out their weapons and treasures. Kill him. Sect Master Li suddenly shouted in a resolved voice. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. Halt. A deafening voice suddenly resounded, immediately stopping their movements. This voice. Senior Nye? Sect Master Li recognized his voice the moment he heard it. Indeed, it was Senior Nye, and he could be seen coming out of a portal with an exhausted look on his face. Enough of this. All of you, stop. Without any hesitation, Senior Nye walked right past the sect masters and stood beside Yuan. What are you doing, Senior Nye? Sun Hao asked him. I am trying to stop this farce before someone actually dies. What do you think will happen to the 7 spirit academies if multiple sect masters suddenly die? You actually think we'll lose to that brat, Senior Nye? It's not about losing or winning. If you continue to fight him, one or more of you will certainly die. Even if you manage to defeat him in the end, it will be at the cost of some of your lives, and that is not worth it. Senior Nye said. And he turned to look at Yuan with a perplexed face, as he wasn't sure what to say to Yuan at this moment. Before Senior Nye could say anything, Yuan smiled and said, I am not an unreasonable person. If they agree to stop, I won't pursue this matter any longer. Thank you, Yuan. Senior Nye nodded. W.A. Senior Nye. You know him? Sect Master Xiahou stared at him with her eyes wide as saucers. Of course. Senior Nye nodded and he continued, In fact, I met him not long ago when I went down to the lower heavens to oversee the mystic realm. Do you remember that genius I mentioned about after I returned? The one who refused to join us? That's him. The sect masters there stared at Yuan with baffled faces after realizing Yuan's identity, but none of them wanted to believe it. He's that prodigy who was rumored to have opened the mystic pagoda? Sect Master Li cried inwardly. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 871. Published at 18th of April 2022 11:18 and 6 seconds AM. Chapter 871. 871. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 871. Monster. The place fell completely silent once Senior Nye revealed Yuan's identity to the sect masters. Since none of the sect masters were directly involved in the mystic realm, none of them recognized Yuan. However, they were definitely intrigued by his existence, as he was able to open the mystic pagoda that had been sealed for countless years. They also didn't think that they would be meeting him anytime soon, as it hasn't been that long since the mystic realm ended. After many moments of silence, Sun Hao spoke, "I'm sorry, Senior Nya, but I won't be able to back down. I can't. I simply can't forgive him who severed my arm. He must pay for it." Bai Anju then said, "I also won't stop now. I don't have any grudges against him, but I cannot put down my sword after fighting him. My pride won't allow it." Senior Nya sighed after hearing their words, but he didn't continue to persuade them. Although Senior Nya isn't a sect master, he has been part of the Heavenly Academy even before the current sect master, and his reputation and authority within the sect isn't any less than sect masterly. In fact, most people within the Seven Spirit Academy see Senior Nya as a retired sect master despite having never taken up that position. What about the rest of you? I won't tell you to not fight him, but I highly discourage it. Senior Nya turned to look at the others. I am out. Sect Master Xiahou said out loud before taking a few steps back. As the sect master of the Healing Spirit Academy, she specializes in alchemy more than actual combat, and she didn't want to risk her life for something so pointless. I will fight, said the sect master of the Lonely River Academy, as he was very close with Formless Sword Academy's sect master. He would be filled with guilt if he didn't assist Bai Anju. With half of the sect masters willing to fight, 2 more sect masters also agreed to continue their fight. Sect Master Li from the Heavenly Academy is now the only person that hasn't come to a decision. Senior Nya narrowed his eyes at Sect Master Li. As the leading sect, it would be shameful of me to back down when the majority of the alliance has agreed to fight, said Sect Master Li with a resolute face. Senior Nya sighed. He then turned to look at Yuan with an apologetic look on his face. I'm sorry. I tried. It's fine. I was expecting it. Yuan said. Why you were? Yes. He smiled. Anyways, you should stand back. Things will get a little chaotic from here on out. Before leaving, Senior Nya said to him, I know I have no right to ask this of you, but can you spare their lives at the very least? If you kill any of them, the 7 Spirit Academies will do everything in their power to destroy you. I won't make any promises. If they're too weak, I might accidentally kill them after all. Yuan said. Senior Nya could only sigh inwardly after hearing such words, and he retreated from the battlefield with Sect Master Xiahou. Since you're down 1, I will let you attack first. Yuan said to the 6 sect masters with a provoking smile on his face. Che. Sun Hao snickered in disdain right before retrieving a flute. He then used Qi manifestation to hold the flute before his mouth, allowing him to play it with just a single hand. So he can play multiple instruments, huh? If you want to read more chapters, visit Pond Novel C.O.M. When Yuan heard the music, it made him feel a little nauseated. However, the technique was meant to knock out Yuan, and when Sun Hao saw this, he immediately changed songs. A moment later, the other 5 sect masters surrounded Yuan while feeling like their overall prowess had increased from listening to the music. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. Formless Sword Art, Formless Edge. Bai Anju was the first to attack Yuan, initiating a relentless assault that would not stop for many minutes. Strength Enhancing Array. The sect master of the Golden Array Academy further enhanced the other's strength before trying to slow down Yuan with restraining arrays. However, Yuan would easily break out of these arrays. This guy. He knows all of my array's weaknesses. Is he also an array master? Meanwhile, Sect Master Li would occasionally throw powerful techniques at Yuan whenever one of the other sect masters finished their attack in order to keep up the pressure. Of course, Yuan easily dodges all of these attacks with his movement technique. Fiery Lion Fist. The sect master of the Steel Lion Academy used his bare hands to attack Yuan from behind. Ha! Yuan immediately turned around in a kicking motion, blocking the fist attack with nothing but his bare legs. What a ridiculously sturdy body. Not even mountains can compare to this guy's body. He must have soaked in countless treasures to acquire such a refined physique. The sect master of the Steel Lion Academy was shocked after their clash. He was someone that would often claim to have the strongest and sturdiest body in spirit heaven, but after clashing with Yuan, he began to doubt his own strength. The 6 sect masters relentlessly attacked Yuan for many minutes without giving him any time to breathe, each using their own talents to assist the others. Their cooperation with each other was perfect, but despite that, none of them have been able to land a solid hit on Yuan, as he was easily blocking and dodging everything they sent his way. This is fucking impossible. He has an answer for all of our attacks, and there are 6 of us attacking him at once. Sect Master Li cried inwardly, his body soaked in cold sweat. What a monster! The other sect masters also noticed this, but they did not dare to stop attacking Yuan, fearing his retaliation. Meanwhile, Li Jinsi and the others watched Yuan fight with 6 spirit kings simultaneously while having a lower cultivation. "He's even smiling," Li Jinsi mumbled in a voice of disbelief as she stared at Yuan's face that was filled with excitement and joy. "If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters." Chapter 872. Published at 18th of April 2022 6:09 and 16 seconds p.m. Chapter 872. 872 If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 872. Heaven's favorite. So this is the prowess of the man who opened the mystic pagoda. He was only a spirit master at that time too. Senior Nye thought to himself as he watched Yuan play with the 6 sect masters. Because the mystic realm did not show Yuan's movement and actions, nobody but those that were with him knew his potential. This included Senior Nye, who could only imagine Yuan's prowess until today. "This is absurd, almost comically so," Sect Master Xiahou suddenly uttered in a dazed voice. "How can someone like him exist in this world? Why are the heavens allowing this to happen?" Hearing her words, Senior Nye responded without looking away from the fight. "This is the heavens' way of messing with us cultivators for wanting to defy them by seeking eternal life. They will occasionally create geniuses that will surpass everyone with ease just to make the others fume with jealousy. Of course, if they're feeling extremely bored, they will very rarely give birth to monsters that will dominate an entire era, and these monsters are fated to do just that, so there is nothing we can do about it. We can beat them, oppress them, mock them, torture them, and even try to kill them, but they will always somehow manage to survive and continue their path of dominance. We call these monsters Heaven's favorite." "So you're saying that he's Heaven's favorite?" Sect Master Xiahou asked. "I hope so," Senior Nye said with a bittersweet smile on his face. "Why?" Sect Master Xiahou raised her eyebrows in a puzzled manner. "Because there actually exists an existence that surpasses even Heaven's favorite. This kind of existence are independent souls that do not obey any rules, not even those made by the mighty heavens, nor are they affected by fate, so they can essentially do whatever they want while ignoring all rules of this universe. There isn't an official name for this kind of existence, but if I have to give them one, I would call them forbidden souls, as they are souls that should not be allowed to exist, for the sake of this world and everyone in it." Sect Master Xiahou was left speechless by Senior Nye's words, and she wondered if Yuan could be this kind of existence. Meanwhile, Yuan's battle with the 6 sect masters only got more heated with every passing moment, as the sect masters were beginning to get desperate. Most of them had been unconsciously using non-lethal techniques because they were ganging up on a young man that also has a lower cultivation base than them, but the sect masters eventually came to a realization that Yuan isn't human, so they shouldn't fight like they were fighting a fellow human cultivator. "This bastard is clearly not human, and we want to feed him until we stop considering him as a human. We need to treat this fight like we're fighting a magical beast. No, a divine beast. Let's stop holding back and fight with the intention to kill," Sun Hao suddenly said to the other sect masters. Although they were hesitant at first, it did not take long for them to agree with Sun Hao. Once the sect masters stopped seeing Yuan as a human, their attacks immediately became more aggressive and destructive. "Ah, this is so fun. That's right. Fight me with the intention to kill me. Fight like your life depends on it." Yuan laughed out loud as he also increased his pace and strength. Formless blade, formless death. Bainju used his most powerful technique on Yuan. The other sect masters followed. Ancient Lion's Fury. Array of 4 elements. Heavenly Destruction. All of the sect masters suddenly released their most powerful and destructive technique on Yuan simultaneously. A massive explosion occurred shortly afterward, forcing the sect masters and even the spectators to retreat. "Why Yuan?" Li Jinsi swallowed nervously. Surely he couldn't have survived that attack just now, right? While everyone there had their eyes focused on Yuan's direction, Senior Nye decided to focus on Xiaohua instead for some reason. She's not acting, nor does she seem worried even in the slightest. Senior Nye sighed inwardly after realizing why Xiaohua remained so calm. It's over. The sect masters are not capable of defeating this monster. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. Once the smoke disappeared enough, Yuan's figure appeared before the sect masters again, and he seemed to be completely unharmed, which left the sect masters completely baffled. After coming out of the smoke, Yuan cracked his fingers and said in a chilling voice, I would like to believe that I have given you all enough time for your head start. It's now my turn to go on the offensive. Yuan's words immediately snapped the sect masters back to reality. Shit. Stop him. Sect Master Li shouted in a panicked voice. However, before anyone there could even do anything, Yuan's eyes changed colors, turning into majestic gold. Dragon's gaze. All 6 sect masters halted their movements the moment they stared into Yuan's glowing eyes. Where am I? Where did the others go? The sect masters suddenly found themselves alone in the void, where there was only darkness and this unfathomable presence that continuously grew more terrifying until it was strong enough to shake the very core of their souls. Once their fear was at its peak, the sect masters finally realized what was causing this terrifying presence. However, this entity was so massive that just one of its eyes could make them look like ants before a watermelon in comparison. Help. I give up. Please. Get me out of here, mother. Sun Hao was so shaken by the massive eye that he started crying for his mother. The other sect masters had similar reactions. Bianju dropped his sword and kowtowed before the entity in the void without uttering a single word. Sect Master Li and the others also did something similar. They had lost all will to fight and offered their unworthy lives to this unfathomable entity in the void. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 873. Published at 20th of April 2022 4:09 and 17 seconds p.m. Chapter 873. 873 If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 873. Don't look. What happened? Why are they just standing there? Sect Master Xiaohou mumbled in a dumbfounded voice as she stared at the sect masters with her eyes as wide as saucers. Because Yuan had his back facing her direction, she was unable to see his glowing eyes and understand the situation. Sect Master Xiaohou decided to take a closer look with her divine sense, but Elder Nye suddenly exclaimed, "Don't look." Huh. Sect Master Xiaohou subconsciously retrieved her divine sense from surprise and turned to look at him, only to see a terrified expression on his face. "Senior Nye? What's wrong?" she asked him in a nervous voice. "Whatever you do, don't look at his eyes right now. You'll regret it like I am now," he said with sweat dripping down his forehead. Even though Yuan's dragon's gaze wasn't directed towards him, it was still emitting an aura strong enough to shake Senior Nye's soul when he glanced at it with his divine sense. What a terrifying technique. Must be at least divine rank. Meanwhile, Yuan merely stood there with a calm expression as he watched the sect masters stand there with blank looks on their faces, looking like they were in a trance. If he wanted to defeat the sect masters, right now would be the best time. However, he didn't attack them and actually waited for them to break out of his technique by themselves, which is definitely a crueler punishment. When Senior Nye realized what Yuan was doing, he immediately said, "Why Yuan? Please have mercy. Their souls will crumble at this rate. That is a fate worse than death." Yuan smiled and said, "Don't worry, they won't receive any permanent damages. I'm holding back after all." He's holding back. Even though it's already this powerful. Senior Nye cried inwardly. After standing around for a couple more minutes, Yuan finally decided to act. However, the sect masters remained dazed even after Yuan deactivated his dragon's gaze. "It's time to wake up." Yuan slightly twisted his body before swinging his fist at Sect Master Li's face, hitting him square in the cheeks. A cracking noise resounded as Sect Master Li's jaw cracked from the impact. He then flew into the air with his body spinning in an impressive manner. After sending Sect Master Li flying, Yuan immediately moved to his next victim, sending Bianju flying with a fist to the face as well. He then sent the Sect Master of the Golden Array Academy, the Sect Master of the Steel Lion Academy, and the Sect Master of the Lonely River Academy flying with a kick in their stomach, breaking some of their ribs in the process. It was just Sun Hao, Sect Master of the Universal Music Academy, left, and Yuan had something special for him. After slapping Sun Hao in the face to wake him up from his daze, Yuan would batter him with over a dozen strikes, ruthlessly hitting him in the face and body until his entire face was deformed with bruises. Once all of the sect masters were lying on the ground and groaning in pain, Yuan took a deep breath and said, "I am going to end your punishment here and spare your lives, but if you try to harm me or my friends again, I will not hesitate to come back and claim your lives." He turned to look at Senior Nye and continued, "Do you have anything to say?" A bittersweet smile appeared on Senior Ni's face as he spoke. Just one thing. Thank you for sparing their lives. Yuan nodded. I should also apologize for escalating the situation even though I came here with the intention to stop it, especially since there are millions of people watching this. Oh, you don't have to worry about the spectators. We stopped broadcasting this place after your fight with Sect Master Sun, so everything that happened afterward is only between us. Senior Nye said. What? Sect Master Xiaohou turned to look at Senior Nye with a shocked face. Why didn't you say so earlier? I don't know about Sect Master Sun, but the others wouldn't have fought if they knew about that. They fought because they thought that their reputation was at stake. We can talk about that after you heal them, Senior Nye said in an awkward voice. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. Oh right. Sect Master Xiaohou then fed the other Sect Masters recovery pills and other expensive medicine, healing all of their injuries within moments except the damage done to their pride and mind. Senior Nye, are you serious? About the broadcast, Sect Master Li asked him afterward. Yes, it's true. The only people that could see the broadcast are people with direct access to them like me. However, Sect Master Sun's fight with Yuan is public knowledge. Everybody turned to look at Sun Hao, who had a very bitter look on his face, but there was nothing they could do about it. Hey, can we leave now? Yuan suddenly approached them and asked. The Sect Masters subconsciously took a step back when Yuan got too close. You want to leave after beating us? Are you serious? Bianju frowned. What? Do you want me to take responsibility or something? Except for him, you're all unharmed. Yuan said while pointing to Sun Hao. Just so you know, hundreds of thousands of disciples from the 7 Spirit Academies are currently waiting for you outside. If we don't stop them, they will all attack you. Sect Master Li said. Is that so? Yuan began pondering for a moment before showing a cold smile. Or I can just kill them all. You bastard! The Sect Masters glared at Yuan with killing intent. Yuan chuckled. I'm just joking, but if you leave me no choice, that joke might become a reality. Also, if you're worried that I might cause trouble for you in the future, then you don't have to worry, as I will be ascending to the next realm very soon. What? You're ascending again so soon? Senior Nye looked at him with wide eyes. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 874. Published at 20th of April 2022 4:09 and 15 seconds p.m. Chapter 874. 874 If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 874. Come with me, I would like to stay around for a little longer, but it will only hinder my growth. Yuan said with a bittersweet smile. Anyways, since I will be leaving this realm soon, you can simply just forget about me. I'm sure you'll eventually forget about me sooner or later even if I don't mention it. After a moment of silence, Bianju spoke up. Even if you're gone, what about her? What if she seeks revenge in the future? We cannot take that risk. Yuan chuckled at his words. No way. She won't do something like that. And we're supposed to just take your words for it? How about this then? Yuan turned to look at Li Jinsi before asking her, Hey, want to come with me? Well, ascend together. The fact you came to this place for entertainment must mean that you're already bored of this realm. I can't say that I'm surprised though. You're really strong after all. Li Jinsi's eyes widened slightly after hearing Yuan's suggestion. You want me to follow you? Yes. I can guarantee you that there will be plenty of stronger magical beasts for you to fight up there. You'll be able to fight to your heart's content. Li Jinsi silently stared at Yuan for a few moments before nodding her head. Okay, I will go with you. Then it's decided. Yuan returned to looking at the Sect Masters and continued, As you all just heard, she will be ascending with me. There should be no problems now, right? Do you really think? Sun Hao opened his mouth to speak. However, Yuan quickly interrupted. You should really think twice before you finish that sentence, Sect Master. I've been holding back long enough. If you continue testing my limits, I will stop being so nice. Seeing Yuan's serious and cold glare, Sun Hao swallowed nervously and forgot what he was going to say. He's serious? If we continue to push our luck, he might really slaughter his way out of here. Sect Master Li cried inwardly. If Yuan could easily handle all of them at once and with ease, he had no doubt that Yuan would also be capable of dealing with the disciples waiting for him outside. A Sect Master can easily be replaced since there is only one person for that role, but if a large population of disciples suddenly dies at once, it would deal almost irreversible damage to a sect that would take hundreds if not thousands of years to fix. Alright, well, forget about today's incident. Sect Master Li said out loud. What? You can't be serious. Sun Hao snapped to look at him with a shocked face. If you want your disciples to die a pointless death, you're more than welcome to do so. However, I will not let my disciples be part of it even if it's the last thing I do. I just told my disciples to return to the sect. Sect Master Xiahou suddenly stepped forward and announced while showing Yuan the communication jade slip. The disciples of the Heavenly Academy never left the sect, so we should have any disciples here. Senior Nye said to Sect Master Li, who nodded his head in approval. I'll also call my guys off. The other sect masters eventually gave up. In the end, only Sun Hao remained indecisive. What is this nonsense? I thought we're supposed to help each other. That is the purpose of our alliance that has stood for thousands of years. Sun Hao yelled at the other sect masters. How dare you bring up such bullshit after we risked our lives to fight him with you, Sect Master Sun? You should know better than that. Sect Master Li immediately roared back. Sect Master Sun, while we are obligated to help each other during times of need, it does not mean we must sacrifice ourselves to do so. Sect Master Xiahou said. Sect Master Sun, you need some rest as you're clearly not thinking straight right now. Bianju sighed. When the rest of the sect masters rebuked Sun Hao's stubbornness, it infuriated him. However, there was nothing he could do. He knew that there was nothing he could do against Yuan by himself. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. In the end, Sun Hao raised his white flag and commanded his disciples to return to their sect. I'm leaving. Sun Hao also left the place immediately after, as he didn't want to stay in that place for another second. Well, contact you again later for a proper meeting, Sect Master Sunday. Sect Master Li said to him right before he entered the portal and disappeared from the place. It should be clear outside now. Senior Nye created a portal and said to Yuan. Let's leave now, shall we? Yuan turned to ask Li Jinsi, who nodded in a dazed manner. Yuan proceeded to leave the place with Li Jinsi and Xiao Hua following behind him. Senior Nye, tell us everything you know about him. Sect Master Li said in a serious voice after they left. I don't mind, but I also don't really know much about them. However, there is one thing that I can say for sure. What's that? He's from an extraordinary background with connections to some very powerful people. Do you remember the Flood Dragon scale that I recently purchased? The owner and seller of that scale called him Young Master. What? The sect masters there were shocked to learn this information. You said that he came from the lower heavens, right? How can he possibly have such connections? Unless he's actually from the upper heavens but purposefully traveled to the lower heavens, that's impossible. However, why would he do such a thing? Bianju said. Senior Nye shook his head. The more talented they are, the less we understand them. It'll be for the best if we don't question it and just accept things as they are. The bigger question now is, what should we do after all this? I'm also worried about Sect Master Sunday. He suffered the most today after all. Sect Master Xiahou sighed. We can talk about that later. For now, we need to return to our own sects and explain the situation to our disciples. Sect Master Li said. The sect masters agreed and they all left the scene shortly after. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 875. Published at 20th of April 2022 4:09 and 14 seconds p.m. Chapter 875. 875 If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 875. 7 Spirit Academy's Disciple Examinations Results. Sometime after Yuan and Li Jinsi left the disciple examination, they went to meet back up with Meishio and Chu Liuxiang. Sorry for the trouble, Yuan. Li Jinsi apologized to him as they journeyed. Don't even mention it. It's only natural that I help my friends out when they're in trouble, he said. Li Jinsi nodded and she continued, by the way, I already knew this, but you're really strong in. I want to spar with you later when we get the chance. Sure. He nodded. Brother Yuan. Xiao Hua suddenly approached him. What's the matter? Brother Yuan, you seem a little different than usual today. Are you feeling unwell? She asked him in a worried voice as she was unaware of Yuan's situation with the Divine Paragon. Yes, I am feeling perfectly fine. Sometime later. Yuan. Jinsi. Are you two okay? What happened? The broadcast suddenly stopped, so we couldn't see what transpired after you cut off that man's hand. Chu Liuxiang immediately asked. Nothing much. I had a fight with them and managed to convince them to forgive and forget about everything that happened today. Yuan said with a smile. Really? Even though you severed that man's arm? It took some effort, but yes, they won't cause us any more trouble. That's good to hear. What are we going to do now? Meishu then asked. The examination is still ongoing, so we'll continue watching until everyone we know has passed. Do you think it's a good idea to let them join the sect after everything that has happened? Chu Liuxiang suddenly asked. It should be fine. After all, they don't know about our associations with each other. And even if they did, I doubt they would bother the others just because of our association. If you say so. Thus, Yuan and the others continued to spectate the examination. Even though the disciple examination was scheduled to last for a couple of days, it did not mean the participants had to wait until the very end to finish their examination. After getting enough points to pass from the third examination, the participants may immediately head to the final part of the examination and be interviewed by the 7 spirit academies. Of course, the interviewers were only of elder status. Therefore, after a couple more hours, Wang Ming and the others passed their examination with top results. Wang Ming had managed to receive offers from all 7 academies to become their disciple, which isn't surprising with his results that ranked top 10. In the end, Wang Ming chose the Formless Sword Academy that specializes in sword art. Wang Bingbing also received offers from all 7 academies, but she joined the Heavenly Academy. Shi Lang received offers from all 7 academies, and he joined the Lonely River Academy, as they had enough spear experts to pique his interest. Hong Xiuquan decided to join the Steel Lion Academy that specializes in tempering their physique in close combat, which is perfect for a gauntlet user. Wu Zhao had surprisingly decided to join the Golden Array Academy despite being a fan wielder and having never heard of arrays until today, but he was interested in their concept and wanted to see if he could become an array master. Shi Murong, who was an expert with daggers, decided to join the Heavenly Academy with Shi Lang. Last but not least, Min Li, who also ranked top 10 with everybody else, managed to receive an offer from the Heavenly Academy, which she gladly accepted. The Demon Sealing faction and Min Li had managed to occupy 7 of the top 10 spots in the disciple examination. Of course, if Li Jinxi's results were counted, that would make it 8 out of 10 spots, and she would also take rank 1 without any contenders. The 7 spirit academies were, without doubt, extremely elevated to have so many top-scoring geniuses join their sects at once. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. Thank you, Senior, for allowing me to join the Heavenly Academy. And thank you, Seniors, for offering me a spot in your sects. I'm really grateful to you all. Min Li bowed to interviewers after joining the Heavenly Academy. Our Heavenly Academy is honored to have a genius such as yourself amongst our ranks. Please arrive at the Heavenly Academy within 30 days to start your training. That's all. Yes. Min Li left the place shortly after and began making her way back to the hotel. Now that everyone has finished their examination, let's go meet them at the hotel like Wed planned. Yuan said to the ones with him. Okay. A few hours later, everyone arrived at the hotel. Congratulations, everyone, on passing the examination. I had faith that you would all pass. Yuan said. Honestly, the examination was much easier than I'd anticipated. Wang Ming said. Right? I worried for nothing. Shi Lang laughed. By the way, did you hear? Something big happened during the examination. Apparently, someone picked a fight with the sect masters of the 7 spirit academies. I heard it on the way back here. Wang Bingbing suddenly said. Oh, I heard about that too. Which idiot would do such a thing? Wang Ming said. About that, Yuan chuckled. Everybody there turned to look at him with raised eyebrows. You see, Yuan proceeded to explain his experience with everyone, leaving them speechless. Unbelievable. How dare they try to kill Li Jinxi over something so stupid? Do you think it's too late to leave the sect? Wang Ming expressed his anger afterward. Why would you do that? Although they may have overreacted, Li Jinxi isn't completely innocent either. Just forget about it and go to the sect. They may not be perfect, but you'll be able to obtain a lot of experience there. Yuan shook his head. By the way, as a result of this experience, Li Jinxi will be following me to the next realm. Honestly, I'm not surprised. Unlike the rest of us, she has the strength and talent to follow you. Good luck up there, all of you. Shi Lang said. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., Please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 876. Published at 20th of April 2022 4:09 and 13 seconds p.m. Chapter 876. 876 If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 876. Because of you, when are you guys planning on leaving? We have a month before we must report to our new sections. Wang Bingbing asked them. Well, most likely leave before then, Yuan said. After talking for some time, Meishio and the others logged off for dinner. Yuan, can I borrow you for a bit? It won't be long. Min Li suddenly approached him. Sure. Follow me. Min Li then brought Yuan to the balcony. What's up? Yuan decided to start the conversation when Min Li remained silent for many moments. I just wanted to thank you before going to the sect. I have decided to leave for the sect tonight, Min Li said with a slight smile on her face. Already? You have 30 days, right? Yuan raised his eyebrows. Yes, but I do not want to continue bothering you. Min Li's smile became bittersweet. Because of you, I acquired the courage to deny the Min family. Because of you, I have managed to break free from the Min family. Because of you, I have achieved my lifelong dream of leaving the lower heavens. Because of you, I can finally walk my cultivation path the way I want. I really cannot thank you enough. It's a debt that I will never be able to repay. Yuan smiled and said, You don't need to repay me. You're my friend, and it's only natural for friends to help each other out. I know I told you this before too. You're right. Sorry I even brought it up. Min Li turned to look at the bright moon, and after a moment of silence she spoke, Do you think we'll see each other again? I know you'll only continue to ascend the 9 heavens while I am stuck here. We'll see each other again. I will make sure to visit you when I get the chance in the future. Yuan smiled. However, Min Li shook her head and said, No, I will be the one to visit you. I will train hard and catch up to you no matter how long it will take me, and I will continue to ascend the 9 heavens until we meet again. If you don't mind, I have 2 more selfish requests for you. Please wait for me. Sure. Yuan nodded without hesitation. After a moment of silence, Yuan spoke, You said you have 2 requests for me, right? That was just 1. Min Li immediately blushed. Actually, forget about my second request. I will tell you about it during our next meeting. Instead, can you close your eyes for a moment? Yuan silently nodded and closed his eyes. The moment Yuan closed his eyes, Min Li tipped her toes and leaned forward, kissing Yuan on his soft lips. Please keep them closed for a little longer. I don't want you to see my face right now, Min Li quickly said after removing her lips. After a moment of awkward silence, Min Li said, I may not be worthy to be with you now, but I will train hard to become someone worthy. Until next time, Yuan. Yuan suddenly felt a gentle gust of wind caress his face. He opened his eyes to see that Min Li had disappeared from the balcony. He turned to look in a certain direction and touched his lips. Why do they always ask me to close my eyes? He wondered inwardly. Ding. A distinct noise suddenly snapped Yuan out of his daze. Min Li's adoration. Increases your charm by 40 and overall damage by 30%. Yuan logged off cultivation online shortly after and gathered in the dining room to eat dinner with the others. Visit Readle. Me for extra chapters. You guys can do whatever you want for the next few days. I still have some business to do before we can head to the stairway to heaven, Yuan said to Meishio and the others. Okay. The following day. Feng, let's return to the House of Riches. They're probably waiting for us, Yuan said to her. Oh, I nearly forgot that Wet asked for their help regarding the Pill of Truth. Let's go. On their way to the House of Riches, Xiaohua asked, Why are you looking for the Pill of Truth? It's a long story, Feng Yuxiang said. Then shorten it, Xiaohua frowned. Feng Yuxiang chuckled and proceeded to briefly explain the situation to Xiaohua. Basically, we need the Pill of Truth to see if the young master's memories are real. Memories? Is there something wrong with your memories, Brother Yuan? Xiaohua turned to look at him with a puzzled face. No, it's nothing of that sort. I haven't told you this yet because you were away with Min Li, but I actually have memories of my past life as the Divine Paragon. What? Xiaohua's eyes immediately widened. I know it's hard to believe, but it's the truth. I even recall my birthplace and my family during that life. In fact, the Divine Paragon was born in the 3rd heaven, our next destination. Reincarnation, Xiaohua mumbled in a low voice, her thoughts unknown. Seeing Xiaohua in deep thoughts, Yuan stopped talking so that she could think. Meanwhile, inside the Universal Music Academy, a man dressed in completely black stood before Sun Hao inside his quarters. Is this information real? Sun Hao turned to look at the man with a wide smile on his face. Yes, I have confirmed it myself. The Gu family is currently searching for a young man named Yuan. They seem to have some grievances with him. The man said, Ah, this is perfect. Let the Gu family know that I have information on this Yuan and that I want to meet with them. Immediately. Right away. The man immediately left the room. What a coincidence that the Gu family is looking for that bastard. This must be heaven's calling. They must want that bastard dead as much as I do. Ah. Sun Hao laughed inwardly. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 877. Published at 22nd of April 2022 7:48 and 28 seconds AM. Chapter 877. 877. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 877. LT wasn't robbery. After arriving at the House of Riches, Yuan and his group walked into the building to find out that there was an ongoing auction. Welcome, how may I? The man at the counter suddenly stopped talking. It's you. Please wait for a moment, esteemed guests. I will immediately notify Senior Gu of your arrival. The man immediately rushed upstairs. Ever since his last encounter with Yuan and Feng Yuxiang, the man had engraved their faces into his mind, fearing that he might offend them again. Gu Xiaolan could be seen rushing downstairs a few moments later. Welcome back, esteemed guests. I have been anticipating your arrival, she said to them with a bright smile on her face. Clearly she had some good news. Once they were inside the VIP room, Feng Yuxiang said, So? Did you find any information on the pill of truth? Judging by your demeanor, you found something, right? Yes. While I have to announce with regret that the pill of truth doesn't exist in this world, I have been told by a reliable source that someone in the third heaven has one. And she continued, his name is Jin Sang, and he's a renowned Tier 5 alchemy master at the Spirit Grass Mountain. Thank you for the information, but if you want the Spirit Jade, you'll need to give me some concrete proof. I can't just accept your words so quickly. What if I give you the Spirit Jade and it turns out the information is wrong? That would be foolish of me. Feng Yuxiang said. I assure you that this information is very trustworthy. Although I cannot give you any information about my sources, I am willing to put the House of Riches' name and reputation on my words. Feng Yuxiang silently stared at Gu Xiaolan for a moment before turning to look at Yuan. What do you think, young master? Should we trust her information? I don't see why we shouldn't. They're a reputable name, right? And we're the ones who asked them for help. I think it would be rude of us to not trust them after all that. If the young master trusts them, I will also trust them. Here. Feng Yuxiang took out the Spirit Jade from her spatial ring and tossed it at Gu Xiaolan, treating it as though it was only a piece of candy. Gu Xiaolan's heart skipped a beat when she saw this, and she hastily caught the Spirit Jade, sighing in relief afterward. Even though you don't really deserve this Spirit Jade because I told you to find the pill of truth, and you only found information about it, I am feeling generous today. Feng Yuxiang said. Thank you, esteemed guest. Although the House of Riches is incredibly wealthy and 100 million spirit stones isn't much to them, it doesn't mean Gu Xiaolan owns its wealth, as she is only a manager of this auction house. However, since this is a private deal between Feng Yuxiang and Gu Xiaolan, she would be able to pocket all of the money to herself after paying the people she asked for help. Shall we go now, young master? Feng Yuxiang asked him. Yes, let's. Please wait. Gu Xiaolan suddenly stopped them. What do you want? Feng Yuxiang asked. I know I shouldn't stick my nose into your business and I have no intention to, but I have some additional information for you. Of course, this is on the house and you don't need to pay me for it. Feng Yuxiang narrowed her eyes and said, So you withheld information about the pill of truth from us? No, that's not it. This is a completely different matter. She immediately refuted such claims. In case you don't already know about my background, I am actually from the 7 legacy families, the Gu family. According to what I've been told, the Gu family from the lower heavens had been robbed by someone named Yuan. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. Oh, is that so? Yuan remained calm even after hearing such information. How did you know I was Yuan? I don't remember giving you my name. Feng Yuxiang narrowed her eyes at Gu Xiaolan, who who swallowed nervously. If I answer wrongly, I will be killed. She cried inwardly. That's because the Gu family from the lower heavens also gave us descriptions of you. I noticed it at first during our first encounter, but I didn't think it was you at that time. After the Flood Dragon scale auction, Senior Nye told me your name, and that's when I realized it. Senior Nye? Alright. He was there as well. Yuan remembered seeing Senior Nye after the auction. And you haven't told the Gu family about us? Why not? Feng Yuxiang suddenly asked. Honestly, I don't want to help those idiots from the lower heavens. I don't know why you decided to rob them when you can easily hand out 100 million spirit stones without any hesitation, but that's none of my business. They probably even deserved it. I see. And how is their search going? Feng Yuxiang then asked. They're still looking. It's not easy looking for people based on just their names and description, especially if they're not natives of this world, after all. In fact, it would be easier to find a needle in a haystack the size of a mountain. Thank you for this information, but I must clear up something. We didn't rob them. Yuan said. Huh? You didn't? So they lied? Gu Xiaolan was left speechless by this information. It was a donation. They donated their treasures to me after I punished them a little for trying to take my friend by force. That's all there is to it. Yuan said with a smile. I see. In that case, they definitely deserved it. I apologize for sticking my nose into your business. Once again, thank you for the spirit jade and trusting me. I hope to do business again with you in the future. Gu Xiaolan bowed to them. Yuan and Feng Yuxiang left the House of Riches shortly after, returning to the hotel. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 878. Published at 22nd of April 2022 7:48 and 26 seconds AM. Chapter 878. 878. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 878. Hidden formation. What should we do about the Gu family, young master? Feng Yuxiang asked him after they left the House of Riches. It's simple. We will do nothing. Yuan said. First of all, they don't even know about our location or our identity. We're also leaving this world soon, so unless they somehow manage to find us before then, there's no point to even think about it. If they somehow manage to find us, well, deal with it then. I understand. Feng Yuxiang nodded and said nothing else. After returning to the hotel, Yuan logged off. I'll see you guys later. I have some business that I need to take care of, so I won't appear for a while. Don't worry, it won't be longer than a few days. Yuan said to Xiao Hua and the others before logging off. Once he returned to his world, Yuan picked up his phone and dialed a certain number. Hello? Manager? This is Yuan. I'd like to speak with the Lord. Please schedule an appointment for me. Yuan said. No. The Lord doesn't do appointments. He will call you when he needs you. The manager coldly refused. Don't be so cold. This is about the demons in the mountain. Of course, if you want somebody else to deal with them, I will stop bothering you. The manager was dead silent for a good moment before she spoke. I will speak with the Lord. She immediately hung up afterward. She really hates me, huh? Yuan chuckled inwardly. What should I do now while I wait for a response? However, before he could even think of anything, his phone began ringing again. Hello? Get ready. I'm coming to pick you up now. The manager said. You already spoke to the Lord? It hasn't even been a minute since our last conversation. The manager closed the connection before he could even finish his sentence. Yuan quickly got dressed and went outside to wait for the manager after leaving behind a note for Chu Liuxiang, who was diligently cultivating in the balcony. About 10 minutes after their phone call, the manager showed up in front of Yuan's living quarters. Let's go, she said. You know, you don't have to pick me up every time. I know the way by now. Yuan suddenly said to her. The manager stopped walking and turned to look at him with a serious face. Do you really know the way? Of course. He nodded. Then you can take the lead, she said, even gesturing for him to walk ahead of her. Yuan merely smiled and began walking in front of her. About half an hour later, Yuan stopped walking, and he looked at the road in front of him with a pondering face. What's the matter? Why did you stop? The manager asked him. We should have arrived at the peak of the mountain by now, but I cannot see the peak nearby even with my divine sense. Ridiculous. The manager scoffed. Wait. Yuan suddenly said. After a moment of silence, he smiled. I see. No wonder why you told me to lead you. There's a powerful formation that keeps others from ever reaching the peak, am I right? The manager narrowed her eyes slightly. Not bad. Now you know why I have to take you there. Besides the Lord and myself, the formation will keep all existence away from the peak. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. I understand now, but I still want to try to reach the peak. Yuan said, dumbfounding the manager. Did you not hear what I just said? She frowned afterward. I heard you loud and clear. Now that I understand it, I can deal with it. As long as I can figure out the trick to this formation, I should be able to reach the peak without your help. I would love to see you try, but we don't have the time for that. The Lord is waiting for you. If you make him wait too long, don't worry, this won't take too long. Yuan said as he took a seat on the street. Even though the manager was confident that Yuan would not be able to bypass the formation, she couldn't help but stare at him with interest. Meanwhile, Yuan studied the formation with his divine sense. This formation is well hidden. It's no wonder why I didn't see it at first. Unless you're actively looking for it, you will most likely miss it. No, it actively tries to disguise itself, so you won't find it even if you know about its existence. Formations. Although they are not considered arrays due to their size and complexity, they function about the same. 5 minutes later, Yuan stood up and turned to look at the manager with a smile on his face. No way. Did he really manage to crack the formation? And in such a short time? She wondered inwardly, even feeling a little excited. However, what came out of Yuan's mouth a second later made her fume in anger. You were right, I couldn't crack it. Sorry. Yuan said with a playful smile on his face. Why, you little bastard? The manager's eyebrows twitched aggressively and her face twisted in anger. How dare you mess with me? If the Lord wasn't waiting for you, I wouldn't hesitate to beat you up right now. The manager snorted before stomping ahead of him. Yuan shrugged and said, I'm not trying to make any excuses for myself by saying this, but the reason I couldn't crack the formation is because I don't recognize half of the array symbols that make up the formation. If I understood the symbols, I would have been able to crack it. Judging by the complexity of these symbols, they're probably level 4 or 5 array symbols. I only know up to level 3 and a little of level 4 array symbols. Once I learn level 4 and level 5 array symbols, I will try again. Whatever. The manager said. Even though Yuan wasn't able to crack the formation on his first attempt, the manager was still impressed that Head even managed to see the formation in the first place. Of course, she would never admit that she was impressed by him, even if she was threatened with death. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 879. Published at 22nd of April 2022 7:48 and 25 seconds AM. Chapter 879. 879. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 879. How confident are you? 5 minutes after the manager took back the lead, they arrived at the peak of the Dragon Spiral Mountain. Yuan immediately walked to the cave and stood in front of it. Did something happen on your way here? You're late. The Lord's voice resounded from deep within the cave a moment later. Not really. I wanted to try cracking the formation that is protecting this place. Yuan said with a calm smile. The Lord was surprised by his words and couldn't find any words for a good moment. Ha ha ha. He suddenly started laughing. So you found the formation, huh? Not bad. Not bad at all. After getting a good laugh, the Lord continued, So what business do you have with me, with the demons? It's nothing that important, but it's about time I deal with those pests. It doesn't feel good knowing that you're living so close to demons, you know? It's like living in a house with the knowledge that there are insects dwelling in your basement. It makes my skin crawl just thinking about it. Yuan said. The Lord didn't immediately respond, but he could tell that something had changed about Yuan, who appeared to be a totally different person right now. You say you want to deal with them, but how are you going to achieve that? The Lord asked a moment later. It's simple. I will drag them out of the mountain and deal with them one by one. After all, there's no reason why we should wait for them to break out of their seal. The best time to strike is when they're sealed and unable to defend themselves. That is an interesting but reckless plan. How confident are you? Can you say with certainty that you can defeat the demons at your current state without any troubles? Yes, I can, and I won't be fighting them myself. The demon sealing faction will also be there. How daring and risky, the Lord said in a pondering voice. They will eventually break out of their seals, and that day is not far in the future. We can train until we collapse every day until they break out of their seal, but I doubt it would make that much of a difference. While there is truth in your words, I don't know if I can completely trust you. What if you fail to kill the demons and they destroy my precious mountain? If you don't trust my abilities, then why did you even ask me to deal with your demon problem? Yuan said as he calmly stared into the pitch-black cave. This and that are two different matters. You're being impatient right now and you're acting differently than usual. I don't know if I can trust you in your current state. The Lord said. Yuan sighed after hearing the Lord's words. Fine. Then you can find someone else to deal with the demons. The demon sealing faction will move out of the Dragon Spiral Mountain as soon as possible since I won't be able to fulfill your request. And without waiting for the Lord's response, Yuan turned around and began walking away. You insolent brat! The manager shouted at him. However, Yuan ignored her and continued walking. Where do you think you're going? An immense pressure suddenly appeared from the Lord's cave, halting Yuan's movements. Did you already forget about the formation? It works both ways, so you won't be able to leave here by yourself. The Lord said in a cold voice. Yuan turned to look at the cave in a stiff manner with the pressure making it hard for him to move. Judging by your aura, you're probably a spirit emperor. Perhaps even a spirit sovereign. However, that should be impossible with the quality of spiritual energy in this world even if you cultivate it for millions of years. That is if you cultivate it in this world. You're not from this world, are you? Let me guess. You're from Cultivation Online, or should I call it the Nine Heavens? Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. The Lord's pressure suddenly disappeared, and the place became dead silent. The manager was also staring at Yuan with a profound frown on her face, seemingly trying to come to a conclusion. Yuan turned to look at the manager after sensing killing intent from her. I know you hate me, but I didn't think you hate me enough to want to kill me. However, are you sure you really want to do that? I am no match for a spirit emperor with my current strength, much less a spirit sovereign, so I am currently at your mercy. However, if you kill me, you can kiss the Dragon Spiral Mountain goodbye when the demons come out of their seals. Yuan suddenly laid on the ground and spread his limbs out like he was stretching. Go ahead. Kill me. I want to defend myself. Stand down, Leah. The Lord's voice resounded, breaking the awkward silence. And he continued, You? Who are you? You're not the Yuan I know. Yuan smiled and said, It's rude to ask for one's identity while being in a place where they cannot even see you, much less identify you. I have my circumstances. The Lord said. What a coincidence. I also have my circumstances. However, I can tell you that I am indeed Yuan. Whether you believe me or not. I don't care. After another long moment of silence, the Lord spoke, I will ask you again. How confident are you? Can you promise me that you won't mess this up? The Dragon Spiral Mountain is much more important than you can ever imagine. If the demons destroy it, it will be the end of this world. Yuan raised his eyebrows after hearing the Lord's seemingly outrageous claims. I won't make any promises, but I can say with confidence that I have never lost to a demon before. Yuan said, not counting his defeat in the demon sealing pagoda. A defeated sigh echoed from the cave a moment later. Very well. Do as you please. However, if you screw up, I will personally kill you even if it's the last thing I do. The Lord said. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 880? Published at 22nd of April 2022 8 o'clock and 11 seconds p.m. Chapter 880. 880 If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 880 26 days. Good. Now that it's been decided, I want to see the demons right now. Yuan said. Bring him to the demons. And don't do anything funny, Leah. The Lord said to the manager. I want. She said in a nonchalant voice. Follow me. Yuan nodded and silently followed the manager to the area with the 11 demons. Once they arrived, Yuan began analyzing the demons one by putting his hand onto it and checking their prowess. Some minutes later, Yuan pointed at a specific demon and said to the manager, I want this demon. Can you deliver it to the back of my house by this afternoon? The manager frowned and said, Are you insane? What do you think this place is? A convenience store where you can buy demons and have them delivered? I don't mind taking care of the demons here, but are you sure you want that? It's going to get messy, and we could accidentally break the other demons out of their seal in the process. Although I don't care if the Dragon Spiral Mountain is destroyed or not, I don't think the Lord will like that very much. The manager coldly snorted. Fine, we will deliver it to you by this afternoon. What else do you want? Yuan suddenly summoned the Empyrean Overlord and began writing on the ground in front of the sealed demons, numbering them from 1 to 11 in addition to dates. The numbers dictate the order these demons will break out of their seal, and the date is the exact day they will break out of their seal. I want you to deliver the demons 3 days prior to their dates. Simple, right? The manager didn't say anything at first and walked around to look at the dates. The first demon to break out of their seal is in 5 days, and the last demon will break out of their seal in 26 days. We have less than a month to deal with all 11 demons? The manager mumbled, sounding slightly worried. She turned to look at Yuan and asked, "How accurate are your assessments?" Although I can't tell the exact second the demons will break out of their seal until the very last few hours, I am confident that they will break out on those days. However, just in case, I want you to bring them to me 3 days prior to their dates. Yuan said. And what are you going to do once I deliver these demons to you? The manager continued to ask. Yuan smiled and said, "You're free to stay behind and experience it with your very own eyes. I will be doing that even without needing you to tell me." Great. Then I will see you in a few hours. Yuan said as he walked towards the exit. Once they returned to the Lord, Yuan said, "I am going to return home for now to prepare. You can ask for the details from her." He pointed at the manager. "Leah, show him the exit," the Lord said. The manager then led Yuan until they left the formation. "See you later, Leah." Yuan chuckled. "I don't recall giving you the permission to use my name." The manager frowned. "What's the harm? I have a feeling that we'll become friends in the near future, so we might as well start now." "In your dreams." The manager sneered before leaving him to return to the peak of the mountain. Once she returned to the Lord's side, she explained the situation to him. "I see. So we have 26 days to deal with the demons?" The manager then asked in a concerned voice. "Can we really trust him?" After a moment of silence, the Lord spoke. "Although I don't know what had happened to him to cause such a drastic change in personality, he's definitely more formidable than before. And we're in no position to be picky. We have no choice but to trust him for now." The manager then said in a low voice, "When he was with the demons earlier, I could smell anger and hatred in his scent. I don't want to trust him, but I believe that he truly despises demons for some reason." "That's good enough for me," the Lord said. Meanwhile, after returning to his home, Yuan called for everyone in the demon sealing faction. Once everyone was gathered, Yuan said to them, "This is a little sudden, but I need you all to prepare yourselves." "What happened?" Wu Zhao asked. "We're going to be fighting a demon soon," he replied in a calm voice. "Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters." "What? A demon?" they all exclaimed. "This is certainly very sudden. Where are we going to fight the demon?" Wang Ming asked. "Here. In our backyard." "What?" Their eyes widened with shock after hearing such words. "The manager will be delivering a demon to our backyard later this afternoon, and I am going to let you all fight it." Yuan revealed another piece of shocking information. "Wait. You're going to make us fight the demon?" Shi Lang swallowed nervously. "Yes. You can't expect me to fight all of the demons by myself, right? Although I can certainly kill all of the demons by myself, that would make your efforts pointless. You all learn demon sealing techniques for a reason, or am I wrong?" "No, you're right," Wang Bingbing said with a resolute expression on her face. "Don't worry, I won't force you to fight if you don't want to." "I will fight," Wang Ming immediately said. "Me too." Shi Murong raised his hand. Once everyone there agreed to fight, Yuan nodded and said, "Good, then meet me in the backyard this afternoon." The others immediately stormed off to prepare for the fight. "Are you two okay?" Yuan asked Meishio and Chu Liuxiang afterward. "I would be lying if I said that I'm perfectly fine, but I am not afraid. After all, you're going to be there, right?" Chu Liuxiang said. "Of course." Yuan nodded. "Then there's nothing for me to be worried about. I'm going to prepare," Chu Liuxiang said before she left to prepare. "If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible." Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 881. Chapter 881. Tian Qinyu, what about you? Are you feeling okay? Yuan asked Meishio, who was the only one left there. Just a little nervous, she said. Don't worry, you'll be fine. You might be startled by the demon's appearance and aura at first, but remember, you have trained under my killing intent. Yuan smiled. She nodded. Once Meishio also left to prepare, Yuan returned to his room and sat on the balcony with a zither in his lap, and for the next few hours until it was time to gather at the backyard, he would play with the zither that once belonged to Azure. I have already lost 2 people that were precious to me to demons. There will not be another. I will do everything in my power to kill all demons. Yuan sighed inwardly as he recalled his memories as Tian Qinyu. Sitting atop a small green hill were 2 figures, a young man and a young lady, both seemingly around 16 years old. The young man had a scroll in his grasp and appeared to be studying its contents with great focus. Meanwhile, sitting right beside him, the young lady appeared to be fiddling with flowers. Qinyu. A sweet but clear voice resounded. What is it? Tian Qinyu responded without looking away from the scroll. I said look, not listen. Come on. You won't die if you stop studying for a day. Tian Qinyu sighed and placed his scroll down before turning to look at the beautiful young lady sitting beside him. You know the scholar examination is next week. You even promised that you wouldn't bother me if I came out here with you. If I fail this examination, I will have to wait another 4 years before I can retake it. Don't be so stingy. Do you know how many people would die to spend time with me? You should consider yourself lucky that I chose you. And with your intelligence, I'm sure you can pass the examination even without studying. You chose me? Or do you mean our families chose each other? Tian Qinyu shook his head. Indeed, he was engaged to this young lady, but that was a decision made by their families. While that is true, I still have control over my own feelings and I personally want to be with you, she said with a slightly rosy face. Tian Qinyu also began blushing, and the 2 of them would silently and awkwardly stare at each other for the next few seconds. Anyways, look at this wreath I just finished. I made it using the flowers in this area. Isn't it beautiful? Tian Qinyu looked at the headdress made of white flowers in her hands and shrugged. Here, let me help you put it on. Who said I want to wear? Before Tian Qinyu could even finish his sentence, the young lady placed the wreath on his head. You look even weaker than usual now. She chuckled. So annoying. Tian Qinyu mumbled to himself. However, despite his annoyance with her, he didn't remove the crown of flowers on his head. Instead, he picked up his scroll and went right back to reading it. The young lady smiled at his reaction, and then she positioned her body before laying her head on Tian Qinyu's legs. Tian Qinyu acted as though he didn't even notice it and continued reading his scroll. The 2 of them remained in that position for the next few hours until the sun was beginning to set. It's about time I go home. I won't be able to see you for another month because of my cultivation lessons, but I will come see you as soon as that is over. So I will have a month of peace, huh? It's been a while. Tian Qinyu said as he packed his scrolls and stood up. How horrible. Do you really hate being around me that much? The young lady said with a puffed face as she tried to act angry. What do you think? Tian Qinyu said. She pondered for a moment before responding with a cheeky smile. I think you love me, but you're just too shy to admit it. Whatever. Tian Qinyu nonchalantly said, and he began walking down the hill. Wait for me. The young lady quickly grabbed her stuff before chasing after him. After walking for about 20 minutes, the 2 of them returned to the city. Qinyu, I know it'll only be a month, but promise me that you won't forget about me. The young lady suddenly said. Really? Tian Qinyu looked at her with a weird face. The young lady didn't respond and merely stared at him intently. Tian Qinyu sighed and said, I promise I won't forget you. The young lady immediately smiled. Then I will see you next month, darling. Tian Qinyu's entire body trembled when the young lady called him darling, but before he could even say anything, the young lady turned around and ran away with a flushed face. After returning home, Tian Qinyu's father approached him and asked, How was your day with Lady Ai Roan? It was horrible and I couldn't get any studying done. Why did you even agree to let me go out with her when you know my examination is next week? How could I refuse such a beautiful young lady asking to spend time with my own son? I would lose my qualifications as a father if I refused. Whatever. I'm going back to my room to study. You don't have to cook my share for dinner tonight. Tian Qinyu said before disappearing into the house. He's still having difficulties expressing his emotions, huh? A beautiful woman suddenly appeared and sighed. He's already finished his studies 2 months ago, yet he still pretends to be studying. Why can't he just be honest and accept his feelings for Lady Ai Rong? Tian Chenya's father sighed. Lady Ai Rong, on the other hand, is very expressive and honest about her feelings for him. It feels like their role as a man and woman are flipped. What a troubled young man my son is. The woman sighed as well. Chapter 882? Chapter 882. Fascinated after returning to his room, Tian Chenyu dropped the scrolls on the floor and went straight to his bed. He laid down and proceeded to stare at the ceiling with a blank look on his face. Why can't I be honest whenever I am with her? What's wrong with me? He sighed inwardly as Ai Rong's face appeared inside his head. He eventually fell asleep on his bed thinking about his day with Ai Rong, and while he slept, he would continue to dream of their time together. A week later, Tian Chenyu left his house early to take the scholar examination. While Ai Rong wanted to become a cultivator, Tian Chenyu wanted to follow his father's path as a scholar. Of course, Ai Rong has tried to convince Tian Chenyu to become a cultivator with her, but he did not like violence, and with cultivators being symbolic of violence in his era, it was near impossible to convince him to become a cultivator. Once he arrived at the site of the examination, Tian Chenyu went inside and immediately began his examination. The examination consisted of many complicated and philosophical questions that could take 6 hours to complete even for talented individuals. However, when Tian Chenyu took the examination, it took him less than an hour to finish, shocking everyone there. That was Tian Aoi's son Tian Chenyu, right? I have heard about his talents, but I didn't think he would be this crazy. Looks like his father will finally have a rival. Tian Chenyu immediately returned home after finishing his examinations. You're back already? Tian Aoi, his father, was surprised to see him back so soon. Yes, the examination was much easier than anticipated. Now that you're done with the examination, you'll have plenty of time to spend with Lady Ai Rong. His mother began to tease him. I don't even like, who do you think you're trying to fool? My 16 years of experience as your mother isn't for naught, Chenyu. Anyway, Lady Ai Rong is currently busy with her cultivation, but when she is finished, I want you to go see her. It's always Lady Ai Rong who visits you, so you're going to be the one to visit her this time, and I won't take no for an answer. Do you understand what I just said? I understand. Tian Chenyu nodded while sighing inwardly. Good. Tian Chenyu returned to his room shortly after, but he quickly became bored. Although it can get quite annoying with her around, it's also incredibly boring without her. He sighed. What am I going to do for the next 3 weeks? The examinations are over and I don't feel like studying anymore. He suddenly turned to look at a certain object hanging behind his door. That object was a sword. It was given to him by his parents just in case he needed to protect himself, but he has never used it before. Why would she want to become a cultivator? Cultivators are violent in nature, and they are at higher risk of being targeted by demons because their bodies absorb spiritual energy, so they are tastier than mortals who are without any spiritual energy to demons. I really don't understand her. Fortunately for us, demons rarely come to this area, and when they do they will eat a few dozen people before leaving us alone. Sometime later, Tian Chenyu sat before his study table and began flipping through pages of a book. However, this book doesn't contain information that he would normally study. So this is what a demon looks like. I have never seen one before. Tian Chenyu mumbled to himself as he read about demons. They are immortal beings that cannot be killed even if their heads and brains are crushed. You can cut their bodies in half and tear off all their limbs, but they will regenerate everything like nothing had even happened. Heavens! How do you even fight these monsters if they're so powerful? The more Tian Chenyu studied about demons, the more intrigued and fascinated he became about their species, and it would quickly become his hobby to study about demons. For the next 3 weeks, Tian Chenyu would study non-stop about demons until he read every book and scroll that existed within the city, and when he had nothing new to read, he would read through everything for a second and even third time. After studying so much about demons, Tian Chenyu felt like he knew everything about demons. However, no matter how much he read about them, there was one thing that he could not understand. What is it like to encounter a demon? He wondered. Regardless how knowledgeable he was on demons, he could not understand what it would feel like to encounter a real demon. Knock knock, Chenyu, are you awake? His mother suddenly knocked on the door. Yes, I am. I just received news from the AI family that Lady Ai Rong will finish her cultivation lessons today. Do you remember what I told you 3 weeks ago? Yes, I remember. Tian Chenyu responded with a bittersweet smile on his face. Good, then go and fulfill your duties as her fiancé and as a man. I will. Tian Xinyu said, and he left his room after cleaning his desk. Right as he reached the doors, his mother showed up again and handed him a wooden basket. Enjoy this food with the AI family. Okay. One more thing. Rumor has it that someone had spotted a demon near our city 3 days ago, so don't stay out too late. After all, if you encounter a demon, you are almost guaranteed to die. I know. Tian Xinyu accepted the basket and began making his way towards the AI family that was about an hour walk from his house. About halfway there, Tian Xinyu stopped walking when he heard someone shouting in a hysterical voice, "Ah, run! A demon has appeared on the east side of the city, and it is going through houses, eating the families inside." The east side? That's where the AI family is located. AI Rome. Upon realizing this fact, Tian Xinyu dropped the basket in his grasp and began running, but he was not going back home. Instead, he continued to make his way towards the AI family. Please be safe, AI Rome. He constantly prayed in his heart as he ran, tumbling to the ground multiple times on his way there. Chapter 883. Chapter 883. AI Rome, please be safe, AI Rome. Please be safe. I promise that I will start being honest to you with my feelings. Tian Xinyu continued to run towards the east side of the city even though he was already out of breath. Hide. A demon has appeared on the east side of the city. The pedestrians shouted as they ran. Young man, where are you going? That's the direction of the demon. Some of the pedestrians tried to stop Tian Xinyu, but he ignored all of their warnings and continued running. A few minutes later, which felt like an eternity for Tian Xinyu, he finally arrived in the area where the AI family was located. However, the place was awfully quiet, a stark contrast to the atmosphere on the other side of the city. Tian Xinyu eventually arrived at the AI family's household, and he could even see their entrance. However, he couldn't approach the household for some reason and could only stand a couple of houses away. He eventually snapped out of his daze and proceeded walking towards the AI family's household. But then he came to another halt when he noticed a figure appearing from within the household, and this person appeared to be running away from something. When Tian Xinyu saw the pretty face of this person, a smile immediately appeared on his face. AI Rong. Indeed, it was AI Rong, his love since childhood and fiancé. Tian Xinyu felt all of the weight on his shoulders disappear the moment he saw that AI Rong was still alive. Even though she looked terrified and completely hysterical at this moment, that didn't matter to him. However, before he could even sigh a breath of relief, and before the smile on his face could fully be formed, something red and long appeared behind AI Rong, and it was flying towards her direction like a spear. Before Tian Xinyu could even fully comprehend what he was seeing, the red spear reached AI Rong and pierced her body from the back. AI Rong fell to the ground the very next moment and laid there, but she was still alive. Seeing this, Tian Xinyu immediately began running towards her. However, before he could even take 2 steps, he noticed a red figure appearing behind AI Rong. This figure had dark red skin, and it had the frame of a tall human adult. There was also a very distinct-looking horn poking from the right side of its head. The moment Tian Xinyu saw this demon, his body froze, almost as though head turned into a stone statue. What are you doing, Tian Xinyu? Move, damn it! He roared inwardly. But no matter how much he tried to command his body to move, it simply refused to listen to him, so he could only stand there and watch as the demon slowly approached AI Rong, who was squirming on the ground in a puddle of her own blood. No, don't. Stop it. Stop it. Tian Xinyu wanted to shout at the demon to stop, but no voices came out of his mouth. Tears flowed from Tian Xinyu's eyes as he watched the demon open its grotesque mouth and clamp down on AI Rong's legs before tearing it right off her body. AI Rong immediately screamed in pain, and her sharp and painful voice felt like daggers piercing his heart when it reached Tian Xinyu. Meanwhile, the demon chewed on her leg and swallowed it within seconds. Delicious. The demon began laughing afterward, and it immediately went for another bite, taking another chunk of AI Rong's flesh from her body. However, Tian Xinyu could do nothing but watch in horror and fear. Eventually, AI Rong could no longer scream, so she just laid there as the demon continued to eat her body. Once half of AI Rong's body was consumed, Tian Xinyu noticed that AI Rong was looking in his direction, and her lips appeared to be moving. Tian Xinyu subconsciously read her lips, which said, Chin, R-U-N. After reading her lips, Tian Xinyu regained enough strength to move his arms, and he lifted his arms towards AI Rong's direction, seemingly trying to reach for her. Seeing Tian Xinyu's motion, a slight smile appeared on AI Rong's face, and her lips continued to move. I love you, goodbye. After saying her last words, the light in AI Rong's eyes faded, and at the same moment, her life ended. However, that didn't stop the demon from consuming the rest of her body. In the end, the demon consumed even the last drop of her blood from the ground. After the demon finished eating AI Rong, it turned around and went back inside the household. Once the demon was no longer in his view, Tian Xinyu fell to his knees, and he would spend many minutes staring at the stained ground in front of the AI family's household. The demon would end up eating everybody in the AI family and many other families before leaving the city unharmed. Tian Xinyu wouldn't return home until it was past midnight, and when he did, his worried parents were there to greet him. Xinyu, where have you been? A demon had appeared in the city. We've been worried to death about you. His mother immediately went to embrace him. However, she stopped when there was no reaction from Tian Xinyu. See Xinyu? What happened to you, dear? She gasped in shock when she saw the blank look on Tian Xinyu's face. Even though he was clearly alive, he also appeared to be dead at the same time, almost like a soulless vessel. Tian Aowei then spoke in a low voice. I had a bad feeling when I heard that the demon had appeared in the east side of the city. Don't tell me. The AI family? Realizing the truth, Tian Xinyu's mother embraced him even harder while crying at the same time. I'm sorry, Xinyu. I'm really sorry. Tian Xinyu eventually fell unconscious in his mother's embrace. When that happened, his family carried him to his bed so that he could rest, and they would call a doctor for him the following morning. Chapter 884. Chapter 884. Tian Xinyu's awakening. How is my son, doctor? Tian Aowei asked after the doctor they hired to check on Tian Xinyu. Although there is nothing wrong with him physically, I am afraid that his mind is lost. What is that supposed to mean? What will happen to my son? His mother immediately began crying again. He must have experienced something extremely traumatic very recently. That event has stressed his mind to its limits, putting him into a coma. I don't know when hell wake up, if hell even wake up. We can only hope for a miracle from the heavens at this moment. The doctor sighed. How can that be? His mother began crying even harder. Even though Tian Xinyu was in a coma, his mind was actually conscious, so he was able to hear the doctor's words and his mother crying. What's the point of waking up if AI Rong won't be there when I wake up? Tian Xinyu sighed inwardly as he fell deeper into his consciousness. Days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months, but there were still no signs of Tian Xinyu waking up from his coma. Eventually, a whole year would pass without Tian Xinyu waking up even once. However, despite that, his family never gave up on him and took care of him daily. 1 year turned into 2 years, and within the blink of an eye, 3 years have passed since AI Rong's death. How long do you plan on sleeping? One day, an unfamiliar voice resounded inside Tian Xinyu's head, waking his consciousness a little. Who's there? My identity isn't important. What's truly important here is you. Your future. Do you really plan on rotting away in your room as a nobody? The voice returned. So what if I rot away? It's not like I have anything to live for anymore. Tian Xinyu sighed. How pathetic. You lose a woman and you give up life? Shut up. AI Rong wasn't just any woman. She was my woman. My childhood friend. My fiancé. My love. Is that why you merely stood there when your love was slowly being consumed by that demon? Is that really why you couldn't even utter a single word? Is that why you didn't even try to help her? There was nothing I could have done in that situation. I am immortal. I am powerless. If I had the power. So you're telling me that if you had the power that you would have saved her? I don't believe it. You may have been powerless, but you didn't even attempt to help her. You weren't just powerless. You were also spineless, a coward, and utterly useless. Tian Xinyu couldn't refute the voice's ridicule and could only silently accept the mockery. The voice would continue to mock Tian Xinyu for the next few minutes before disappearing. However, the voice would return shortly after. I will ask you again. If you truly had the power to defeat demons, what would you do then? If I had the power to defeat demons? Tian Xinyu repeated. After a moment of silence, he would respond in a furious voice. If I had the power, I would erase all demons from existence. I would become their worst nightmare. I would make them regret ever being born. Is that so? I still don't believe you, but I will give you a chance to prove it. Wake up, Tian Xinyu. The voice disappeared after saying such words, and Tian Xinyu could suddenly feel a warm sensation coming from somewhere deep within his body, quickly enveloping his entire entity. And before he was aware, his eyes that had been closed shut for over 3 years would suddenly open, revealing the world to him once again. Tian Qinyu sat up on his bed and turned to look at the sword that was still hanging on his door. He then got off the bed and walked to the sword, picking it up. Despite having not moved his body for over 3 years, Tian Qinyu did not feel any fatigue in his body at all. In fact, he's never felt any better, even stronger than ever. After staring at the sword for a moment, he walked to the center of the room and started swinging it around. At first, his movements were completely amateurish, and his swings had no experience behind them. However, he would quickly improve. His family eventually realized that their son had woken up from his coma when the servants passing through his room would hear noises coming from within. "Qinyu, I've been so worried. Thank the heavens that you finally woke up. You have been in a coma for 3 years. His mother was the first to barge into his room, and she cried for many minutes while hugging him. "Anyways, why are you swinging that sword around when you just woke up? You should rest some more. I will immediately call for a doctor." "Rest? I have rested enough," Tian Qinyu said in a nonchalant voice. "Please leave me alone." He then forced everyone out of his room before continuing to swing his sword. "Qinyu, what's the matter? Give him some time. He may have woken, but his heart and mind is still." Tian Aowei sighed. All right. However, neither Tian Chenyu's father or mother could have anticipated that some time would actually last much longer than his coma. Days turned into months and months turned into years. Within the blink of an eye, 20 years have passed since Tian Chenyu's awakening. During this time, Tian Qinyu would remain inside his room doing heaven knows what for the majority of the time, and the only times he could be seen outside his room are during times when he needed to clean his body because the stench from his body became too unbearable. As for his parents, they would continue to support him however they could even when they barely saw or spoke to each other. When Tian Qinyu began requesting for information on demons, they went out of their way to collect books and scrolls about demons from other cities. They would gather so many books and scrolls that they had to build multiple storage units around their house just to keep the books from cluttering the house. Chapter 885. Published at 26th of April 2022 8:18 and 22 seconds AM. Chapter 885. 885. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 885. LAM Tian Qinyu. How long do we have to continue this lifestyle? It's been 20 years since that incident, and I have barely seen my son since then. Although I am happy that he's no longer in a coma, this isn't that much different. I can even count the amount of times we've talked to each other during the past 20 years. Tian Chenyu's mother sighed out loud, complaining to her husband, Tian Aowei. It can take years if not decades for a broken heart to heal. We must be patient, he said. What if he never recovers? We're not cultivators. We don't have hundreds of years to spend with each other. Then what do you suggest? We cannot force his heart to heal. Or what, do you want another son? Although you're past that age, it's not impossible. What? No. I don't want another son. How can you even suggest that? If you're suggesting that we replace Qinyu with another son, how is that any different than abandoning Qinyu? Calm down, I was just being sarcastic. But there is truly nothing we can do now but be patient. It might seem like he's not recovering, but that is not true. Things are much better now than 20 years ago. Nowadays he leaves his room once a week, but back then, it would be a miracle to see him outside his room even once a month. At this rate, I will be an old lady before we can become a real family again. Better late than never, right? I guess so. By the way, it's almost that time of the year again. Do you think he'll visit their graves this year? Tian Aowei suddenly asked. Unlikely. She sighed. Do you think he'll ever fall in love again? That's another problem we must worry about, our grandchildren. Who knows? Tian Aowei shook his head. Anyways, it's getting late. Good night, dear. Good night. A week later, right as the Tian family prepared to visit the AI family's grave sites, they received dreadful news that changed their plans. What? Demons have entered the city? When did this happen? How many? Tian Aowei asked the servant who told him the news. About an hour ago. And there are 3 demons. They are rampaging the city even as we speak. Shit. Why did they have to show up today on all days? Tian Aowei cursed out loud. And he continued, let everyone in the household know about the situation. We will hide underground for the next 3 days. Yes. While the servants in the household began scrambling towards the underground area beneath the Tian family's household that was created to hide from demons, Tian Aowei and his wife went to warn Tian Qinyu of the situation. "Qinyu, hurry up and open the door. Demons have invaded our city and there are 3 of them. We must hurry and hide underground until they leave." His mother banged on his door that was locked shut. However, there was no response from Tian Qinyu, almost as though he wasn't inside his room. "Qinyu, are you asleep? Wake up." His mother continued banging on his door. "Where's Qinyu?" Tian Aowei showed up shortly after and asked her. "I don't know. He should be in his room but he's not responding. What if something had happened to him? Shit. We don't have much time left. I'm going to break down his door," Tian Aowei said as he approached Tian Chenyu's room. However, right as he stood in front of the door, the ground suddenly shook, and a loud noise resounded behind them simultaneously. Tian Aowei and his wife slowly turned around to see a tall shadow standing in a cloud of dust about 20 meters from them. Once the dust cloud disappeared, the figure within became visible. "A demon? We're dead." Tian Aowei cried inwardly as his body trembled in fear from the demon's aura that radiated with killing intent. "No. Not like this." His wife directly fell to her knees and began crying the moment she saw the demon. Once the demon noticed their presence, it began walking towards their direction. "Mortals, huh? I would have preferred cultivators, but I guess you'll do just fine as an appetizer before my main meal." The demon licked its lips as it closed their distance within seconds. Tian Aowei and his wife remained frozen as the demon stood right before them, as they were too terrified to even run away. "I love you, darling," Tian Aowei mumbled in a low voice as the demon opened its mouth. However, just as the demon tried to take a bite of Tian Aowei's face, a cold voice resounded from the room behind them. "The stench of a demon. How unpleasant." The door behind Tian Aowei and his wife suddenly flew open, and Tian Qinyu appeared from the room with a sword in his grasp, stabbing the demon right in its mouth. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. After sticking his sword in the demon's face, Tian Qinyu kicked the demon in its stomach, sending it flying. "It's dangerous here. You two should leave," Tian Qinyu said to his parents without looking at them. "See Qinyu?" They stared at him with shocked looks on their faces. Tian Aowei quickly snapped out of his daze and picked up his wife before running away. Wait. We cannot leave him with the demon. He'll die," his wife shouted. However, Tian Aowei ignored his wife and continued to carry her away from the scene. The moment Tian Chenyu's parents left, the demon got back to its feet and stared at Tian Qinyu while baring its sharp teeth at him. "A mere mortal. How dare you?" The demon roared before running at him. Seeing the demon running at him, Tian Chenyu's hands and legs began to tremble uncontrollably. However, he quickly regained control over his body, swinging the sword in his grasp at the incoming demon. Due to its arrogance, the demon didn't even bother to block Tian Chenyu's strike and allowed him to sever its arm. "Useless. It's useless. Even if you cut me into a million pieces with that sword, I will fully recover within seconds like nothing ever happened." The demon laughed madly as Tian Qinyu severed its other arm. "Why don't we put that to the test?" Tian Qinyu said in a calm voice. He then severed the demon's legs. "I told you it's useless." The demon continued to laugh. However, it stopped laughing a few moments later when its limbs still hadn't recovered. What's going on? Why isn't my body recovering?" The demon was puzzled, but it didn't panic, at least not yet. It turned to look at its severed arms and legs, and to its absolute shock, its limbs had suddenly turned into stone. What is the meaning of this? What did you do to me?" The demon roared at Tian Qinyu, who was standing in front of it and looking down on it like it was trash. "What did I do?" "Nothing much. I simply sealed your body, preventing it from regenerating. I think this is actually my first time doing something like this, so I am really glad that it's working as I thought." "Why you sealed my body and my ability to regenerate?" "I am impossible. There's no way humans could have such power." "Who are you?" "I am the one who will be hunting down every single demon in this world until there are none of you left. I am the one who will put an end to this era of demons terrorizing humans. I'm your demon's worst nightmare. I am Tian Qinyu," Tian Qinyu said with a cold expression on his face. "If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 886. Published at 26th of April 2022 8:18 and 21 seconds AM. Chapter 886. 886. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 886. This is just the beginning. The demon stared at Tian Xinyu with a stunned face after hearing his introduction. But after a moment of silence, it suddenly burst out laughing. Ha! You will hunt us down. Ah! This is the funniest joke I have heard all century. After laughing for a good moment, it suddenly stopped laughing and proceeded to glare at Tian Xinyu with a threatening gaze. Who the fuck do you think you are, human? I don't know what trick you used to prevent my body from healing, but I doubt it'll last for long. And even if you take away our regeneration temporarily, you still won't be able to kill us. You're right. Tian Xinyu responded after a moment of silence. I don't have the means to kill you efficiently for now, but I will eventually find a way. Until then, I will just keep you sealed. Keep dreaming. Humans will forever be dominated by demons. You will forever remain as our livestock. It has been that way for thousands of years now. It won't suddenly change because you learned some new tricks. Ha ha ha. Tian Xinyu suddenly started laughing. What's so funny? The demon growled. I can't believe I used to be so afraid of demons. If only I had realized this earlier. Realized how truly pathetic demons are. Anyways, before I seal you for good, I have a question for you. Do you know of any one-horned demons? It has a black horn on the right side of its head, and the horn has this weird zigzagging structure. If you tell me, I just might spare you. Ah! Go fuck yourself, you damn livestock. The demon laughed in response. Is that so? Tian Xinyu closed his eyes and took a deep breath. I still haven't come up with a good name for this technique yet, but what's the point of overthinking it? Let's just call it Demon Sealing Strike. Once he opened his eyes, Tian Xinyu brandished the sword in his grasp at the demon, decapitating the demon's head from its limbless body. Shortly after the demon's head fell to the ground, its body and head turned into stone, coming fully sealed. After sealing the demon, Tian Xinyu fell to his knees, and his body began trembling again. He looked at his hands that were shaking non-stop. I did it. I have defeated a demon. I am no longer powerless. Tears flowed from his eyes as he's been waiting for this moment for over 20 years. However, he wasn't satisfied just yet. In fact, he was far from satisfied. This is just the beginning. Tian Xinyu narrowed his eyes on the sealed demon. Now then, there should be 2 more demons rampaging in this city. After taking a deep breath, he stood back up and started making his way towards the exit. Si Xinyu. His mother suddenly appeared and embraced him. Are you okay? Are you hurt? What happened to the demon? She asked him. The demon? I took care of it. Why you took care of it? How is that possible? You're just a mortal. You have never cultivated before. No mortal can possibly fight a demon, much less defeat it. Tian Aowei appeared and said, You don't have to believe me. You can take a look at the demon yourself. It's right over there. Don't worry, it won't be able to harm you. In the meantime, I have 2 more demons to take care of, so if you don't mind, I'd like to excuse myself. What? You plan on fighting the other demons as well? That's too reckless. I won't let you go. His mother embraced him even harder, refusing to let him go. I'm sorry, mother, but I have to go. This is the only reason I woke up from my coma, after all. Tian Xinyu said as he escaped her grasp. Xinyu, visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. After Tian Xinyu left, his parents went to look at the sealed demon. Heavens, is this really the same demon that attacked us just now? It turned into stone. Tian Aowei stared at the demon that had all of its limbs and head severed with a shocked face. Did Xinyu really do this? How in heaven's name did he? His mother mumbled in a dazed voice. I guess he didn't spend 20 years in solitude for nothing. Tian Aowei sighed. After leaving his home, Tian Xinyu followed the demon's stench until he encountered the second demon. When he arrived, it was chewing on the leg of a child. The demon glanced at Tian Xinyu when it noticed his presence and it spoke. I'll eat you next, so stand there and wait for me. If you dare run, I will make your death more painful. However, before it could even finish its sentence, Tian Xinyu kicked the rock beside his feet, sending it flying at the demon and hitting it right in the face. The demon stopped chewing for a moment before tossing away the half-eaten leg in its grasp and turning to look at Tian Xinyu. After swallowing, it spoke in a grim voice, How dare you, livestock? You're fucking dead. The demon started running at Tian Xinyu with its mouth wide open and dripping with saliva and blood. Seeing this, Tian Xinyu took a deep breath before confronting the demon with his sword. Ah. What do you hope to achieve with that cheap sword? The demon laughed as it clawed at Tian Xinyu with its sharp fingers while taking all of his sword strikes head-on with its body. What's going on? Why is my body feeling stiff? The demon wondered as it continued to attack Tian Xinyu. However, by the time the demon realized what was happening to its body, it was already too late. What is this? What did you do to my body? The demon roared at Tian Xinyu as it laid before him with most of its body turned into stone. But instead of answering its question, Tian Xinyu asked, "Do you know any demons with a single zigzagging horn on the right side of its head? If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible." Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 887. Published at 26th of April 2022 8:18 and 20 seconds AM. Chapter 887. 887. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 887. Tian Xinyu's decision, a demon with a zigzagging horn? The demon mumbled in a low voice. After a moment of silence, a wide grin appeared on its face and it said, "Now that you mention it, I might have seen a demon like that before. Why do you care? Oh, let me take a guess. Perhaps you lost someone valuable to this demon? Ah. I see. So you don't know anything about this demon. Well, not that it really matters. I will eventually find it as I wipe you demons from this world, one by one." Tian Xinyu flicked his arm the next moment, sending the demon's head into the air and completely sealing it with the demon's sealing strike. 2 down, 1 more to go. Sometime later, Tian Xinyu followed the last demon's scent until he reached the other side of the city. However, by the time had arrived, the demon had already erased 6 families from the city and was preparing to leave. "Hey, where do you think you're going, you lowly demon?" Tian Xinyu approached the demon as it reached the city gates. "What the fuck did you just call me, livestock?" The demon halted its movements and turned to look at Tian Xinyu with a grim expression. "What's wrong? You don't like it? I think it's quite fitting. Die." The demon suddenly attacked him without any warning. Demon Sealing Strike. A powerful and threatening aura that the demon couldn't comprehend erupted from Tian Xinyu's body. "What is this feeling? My skin is crawling. Is it because of his aura? I don't like this feeling one bit." This is the demon's first time experiencing such an eerie feeling, but it didn't understand why. After all, it's never experienced the feeling of fear before. And because of its ignorance, the demon did not even bother to avoid Tian Xinyu's attacks. This feeling is becoming more intensive, becoming more uncomfortable. The demon suddenly halted its movements. "I cannot move my body?" When it looked down, the demon could see that its right leg had completely turned into stone. "What did you do to my body, livestock? What did you do?" The demon roared. "How annoying. This is the 3rd time I've heard such a question today." Tian Xinyu snorted. "The 3rd time?" The demon's eyes widened with shock upon realizing something. "You don't tell me that you had..." A wide smile appeared on Tian Xinyu's face as he spoke. "Don't worry, I took care of them before coming to you." "You bastard. A mere livestock. How dare you defy us?" Tian Xinyu shoved his sword into the demon's mouth in the middle of its outcry. "Shut up, you're too loud." And without any hesitation, Tian Xinyu poured demon sealing aura into the demon's body through the sword stuck inside its throat. Once the demon was completely sealed, Tian Xinyu began making his way back home, where his parents were anxiously waiting for him. "Xinyu, you're fine." His mother immediately went to embrace him. "I'm sorry for making you worry. What happened to the other demons?" Tian Aowei asked him. "I took care of them. They won't be able to hurt anyone else for a long time. I hope." "You hope?" Tian Aowei raised his eyebrows. "Anyways, let's sit down and talk. I have something I need to tell you guys." "Why you want to talk? Right now? Why don't you get some rest first? You seem tired," his mother said. Tian Xinyu pondered for a moment before nodding. "Sure." He then returned to his room to rest for the remainder of the day. While Tian Xinyu rested, the entire city was in an uproar about the demon's invasion, and above all, they were confused by the outcome. The 3 demons that invaded their city had somehow turned into stone, something that has never happened before. Nobody saw what happened because they were all hiding inside their homes, but news of the demons turning into stone began spreading throughout the city like wildfire, and it would eventually make its way to the nearby cities. Once cultivators from outside the city heard of the rumors, they made their way to Tianchenya city to see the sealed demons for themselves. Who did this to the demons? This question would become the most asked question in the city for the next few years. Eventually, peak experts from all over the world would visit the city to study the sealed demons and to find the person responsible for the demons, as they believed that this person could help them fight the demons and stop their terror. Visit Me for extra chapters. However, this would not happen until Tian Xinyu had long left the city. The following day after Tian Xinyu sealed the 3 demons, he approached his parents and said to them, "Mother, Father, thank you for everything that you've done for me." What's wrong, Xinyu? Are you okay? His mother asked him, feeling that something was wrong about his behavior. "I have made a decision that you might not support but must be done," Tian Xinyu said. And he continued, "I have decided to erase all demons from this world, and in order to do that, I must leave home and go on a long journey. I don't know how long it will take or if I will ever return, and I know that this will make you unhappy, but I must do this." Erase all demons from this world? Do you have any idea what you're saying, Xinyu? There's no way that's possible. His mother exclaimed. "Whether it is possible or not, we won't know until I try. Even if it's impossible, I still have to try." Tian Xinyu remained firm on his decision. "No. I won't allow it. This family is already crumbling as it is. If you leave, it will truly be destroyed, dear." Tian Aowei placed his hand on her shoulder and shook his head. "Xinyu is no longer a child. If he's decided on a path, it is our duty as his parents to support it, even if we cannot comprehend it. In fact, this might be the only way for his heart to heal." Even if you say that he'll die, are you really fine with letting him walk a path that's clear suicide? He won't die. I believe in him. He's already defeated 3 demons by himself after all. If anyone can defeat the demon clan, it's him. Tian Aowei then turned to look at Tian Xinyu and said, "Can you leave us alone for a bit? I will talk it out with your mother." "Okay." Tian Xinyu didn't say anything else and left his parents alone. Once they were alone, Tian Aowei began trying to convince his wife to let their son leave. Many hours later, they went to see Tian Xinyu, who was patiently waiting for them in his room. "We've come to a conclusion," Tian Aowei said. "Xinyu, here, take this." His mother suddenly handed him a silver ring. Tian Xinyu didn't ask any questions and accepted it. It's a spatial ring. It's a treasure often used by cultivators to store their luggage while they travel. It'll make your traveling a lot more convenient. Does this mean, yes, we both approve of your journey? His mother nodded with a gentle smile on her face. "If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters." Chapter 888. Published at 26th of April 2022, 8:18 and 19 seconds AM. Chapter 888. 888. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 888. The beginning of an everlasting legend. Thank you, Father. Thank you, Mother. I will not let you down. Tian Xinyu clenched the spatial ring in his grasp with teary eyes. Don't lose it, Xinyu. Since it was created for cultivators, it was extremely expensive. We'll probably have nothing but plain rice to eat for the rest of the month because of that ring, his father said in a joking tone. And he continued, also you don't need to feel bad about leaving us behind. You're leaving for a great cause. Go out there and make a name for yourself so that we can brag about our son to our neighbors. Your father is right, Xinyu. I was only thinking about myself before and didn't consider your feelings, so you don't have to worry about me. Although I would be lying if I said that I won't be lonely and sad with you gone, it's nothing I cannot handle. Tian Xinyu nodded. I want leave immediately, so until I leave, allow me to make up for the past 20 years as much as I can, he said a moment later. Thus, Tian Xinyu began spending all of his time with his parents until the fateful day of his departure. Have you heard? The entire city is going crazy over the demons you defeated. Tian Aowei laughed as they ate dinner that night. I have this incredible urge to tell everyone that it was my son who did it, but I doubt anyone would even believe me. Father, Mother, I should have told you this earlier, but you shouldn't reveal the truth to anyone. It could bring you trouble. The demons will also start looking for the one who's responsible sooner or later. Tian Xinyu warned them with a serious expression. Don't worry, we won't say anything. We're not that dumb. A week later, Tian Qinyu finished packing for his journey and said his final goodbyes to his parents before leaving the city. Go make our ancestors proud, Qinyu. His father said after hugging him. We'll miss you very much. Make sure to send us letters whenever you can. His mother said as she hugged him. Goodbye, father. Goodbye, mother. He bid them farewell with teary eyes. After leaving the city, Tian Qinyu walked to this massive graveyard that was located about 10 miles away. Once he found the gravesite he was looking for, Tian Qinyu kneeled before it and placed a wreath made of white flowers onto the tombstone. I know I am a little late, but I couldn't bring myself to see you after what happened. Until now. I hope you'll forgive me, Ai Rong. Tian Qinyu proceeded to spend many hours talking to Ai Rong at her gravesite, telling her about his plans for the future and everything that he wanted but couldn't tell her before. Hey Ai Rong, do you believe in reincarnation? I know this may sound silly, but I believe in it, and I believe that we will see each other again one day. P and de Novl, I promise that no matter how long it takes that I will find you, and when I do, I will make you my wife, if you're willing to forgive me and still love me by then. And before I find you, there is something I must do. I must first cleanse this world of demons. I don't know how long it'll take or if it's even possible, but I will do my best. The next time we see each other, it will be in the flesh. I love you, Ai Rong. Until next time. Once he was satisfied, Tian Qinyu stood up and took one last look at Ai Rong's tombstone before turning around and leaving the graveyard to go on his journey. Unbeknownst to countless people, this was the beginning of an everlasting legend. And shortly after Tian Qinyu left his home, he would make a name for himself by sealing demons wherever he went, but nobody would actually know his true identity until many years later. Yuan, we're ready. Wang Ming's voice suddenly resounded from the backyard, waking Yuan from his daze. He stopped playing his zither and responded, I will be there in a minute. After wiping the tears that had been dripping down his face for a while now, Yuan stowed Azure's zither in the closet and made his way to the backyard where the others were gathered with their weapons. Besides Meishio and Chu Liuxiang, I believe this will be your first time seeing a demon. Google P and de Novl, it's going to be horrifying at first, and you might even feel like running away, but remember, as long as I am here you'll be safe. Yuan said to them. Run away? I doubt it. Wang Ming said. Don't underestimate demons, Wang Ming. You'll understand what I mean when you see one. Yuan shook his head. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. All right. He nodded. Sometime later, the manager arrived at their backyard while pushing a cart that was carrying a tall wooden box. Hey, race your demon. The manager began glaring at Yuan the moment she arrived. Thank you, Leah. I thought I already told you to not call me by my name? She frowned. Oh really? I'm sorry, I must have forgotten. Search P and de Novl, Yuan chuckled, which only irritated her even more. He approached the wooden box a moment later and retrieved the demon from it. T, that's a demon? Wang Ming swallowed nervously after seeing the demon's hideous appearance. If you're scared now, just wait until it is released from its seal. Yuan said with a smile. What are you going to do now? The manager asked him a moment later. Just watch. Yuan carried the sealed demon with his chi manifestation, placing it in the middle of the training field. Demon Sealing Zone. He then created a demon sealing zone that was around 75 meters in diameter with the demon at the center of it. Alright, everybody, I'm going to give you a briefing on what's about to happen. Yuan gestured for the others to gather around him near the demon. They swallowed nervously and approached Yuan and the ominous-looking demon. Once everyone was gathered, Yuan began briefing them in a casual tone that made it seem like they were only going for a stroll in the park. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 889. Published at 27th of April 2022, 8:27 and 6 seconds AM. Chapter 889. 889. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 889. Practice tool. Once I unseal the demon, the 9 of you will attack the demon and try to seal it again. The stronger your demon sealing aura, the quicker you will seal the demon. Once you're all confident in fighting the demon together, I will be splitting you all into smaller groups. Eventually, I want you guys to be able to fight the demons by yourself. Yuan said to them. By ourselves? Shi Lang swallowed nervously. One more thing. The demon will obviously be fighting back. As long as its attack won't cause any lethal damage, I won't stop it, so don't expect me to help you block every strike. I will give you all a couple more minutes to prepare before I unseal the demon. How are we going to do this? Wang Ming asked the others. Who knows? Let's just attack it whenever we get the chance. Shirlang shrugged. Yuan, we're ready. Shi Murong said to him sometime later. All right. I'm going to unseal the demon now. Brace yourselves. Right before he unsealed the demon, Yuan wore a mask over his face. This puzzled the others, but they didn't have the time to ask him any questions as the demon was freed from its seal the next moment. I am finally free. Ah! The demon immediately began laughing the moment it left its seal. Fuck. Wang Ming and the others could feel all of their strength and the courage they'd built up leaving their body when they felt the demon's bloodthirsty aura and heard its chilling voice. Their bodies trembled uncontrollably, and their hearts throbbed erratically, like they were on the verge of having a heart attack. What are you all doing? Stop standing there and attack it. Someone suddenly shouted at them, but it wasn't Yuan. Instead, it was Chu Liuxiang who was the first to make a move. After shouting at the others, she held her palms towards the demon and released a blast of demon-sealing aura at it. The demon stopped laughing after Chu Liuxiang's attack struck it right in its face, blowing half of its face away. Once it recovered the next second, the demon turned to look at her and narrowed its eyes. Humans? No. Demon sealers. As if I'd let you seal me again after I just broke out of my seal. The demon roared before running at Chu Liuxiang. Whoosh. An arrow that was enchanted with demon-sealing aura suddenly flew at the demon from behind and stabbed it right in the back of its head. However, the demon ignored Mixius' attack and continued to run at Chu Liuxiang. Stand back. Li Jinxi suddenly appeared before the demon and fearlessly blocked its path to Chu Liuxiang. She swung her large sword at it, but the demon avoided it with ease. Wang Ming and the others also snapped out of their daze and began attacking the demon together. A bunch of weaklings. So damn annoying. The demon roared. However, there was not much it could do to fight back as it was severely outnumbered 9-1. After 15 minutes of relentless attacking from the demon-sealing faction, the demon was finally sealed again. Seeing that the demon was finally sealed, Wang Ming and a few others immediately fell on their butt and began gasping for air. What do you think? Fighting a real demon? Yuan asked them afterward. I'm exhausted, mentally. I didn't think there would be such a vast difference between a sealed demon and an unsealed one, Shirlang said. I did warn you. Yuan smiled. Anyways, take an hour to rest. I will split you all into 2 groups and you'll fight the demon again then. While the others rested, the manager approached Yuan and began shouting at him. You're using the demon as a practice tool? Are you insane? You said that you'd take care of the demon as soon as possible. Calm down. I have the demon and the situation under control. It won't be able to leave my demon sealing zone. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. Also, this training is necessary for them. After all, what will happen to this world if I suddenly die? If I train them, this world won't be hopeless without me. Of course, I don't plan on dying before I erase all demons from this world, but you never know what fate has planned for you. Anyways, do you want to join them? I can teach you demon sealing techniques so that you can also fight demons. Yuan suddenly suggested. You want me to? The manager looked at him with wide eyes. What's wrong? The Lord asked for my help because neither of you can kill demons, right? If that's the case, it won't work. The manager suddenly interrupted. Huh? What do you mean? If I could learn demon sealing techniques, I would have learned them long ago. The manager said. So you tried to learn demon sealing techniques with the Qi family but failed, huh? Don't worry, I am different from the Qi family. If you study under my instructions, even a mortal can. I said it's impossible. The manager said, and without explaining further, she turned around and walked away. Yuan immediately began pondering in silence about the manager's words. There's only one reason why someone cannot learn demon sealing techniques. I see, so that's why. A profound smile appeared on his face when he realized the truth. The manager stared at Yuan with a frown on her face. Why is he smiling? Did he realize it? No, that's impossible. There's no way, she thought to herself. An hour later, Yuan split the demon sealing faction into 2 groups. First group will be Chu Liuxiang, Li Jinxi, Shi Murong and Hong Xiuquan. The second group will be everyone else. Yuan said. The first group will go first. Everyone else, you can wait outside the demon sealing zone for your turn. Whenever you guys are ready. Once the first group was ready, Yuan unsealed the demon again. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 890? Published at 28th of April 2022 8:04 and 58 seconds AM. Chapter 890. Chapter 890? Backlash: if audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 890? Backlash: what is the meaning of this, humans? The demon roared when it was unsealed for the second time. Nothing much. I just figured you could assist me in training my friends. If you can defeat my friends, I will let you walk free. Yuan said. You think I will help livestocks like demon sealing pulse? Chu Liuxiang shot a wave of demon sealing aura at the demon, creating a hole in its chest. You fucking livestocks. How dare you mess with me? The demon released its loudest roar yet. Its body suddenly began growing larger, and its killing intent soared. It was enraged. The demon is enraged. It will now be much stronger than before, and it will also take more effort to seal. Yuan warned them. Demon sealing strike. Li Jinsi approached the demon and confronted it with her great sword. Although there was still a hint of fear within her eyes, she was able to suppress it. While Li Jinsi fought the demon, keeping its attention on her, Hong Xiuquan and Shi Murong would support her by attacking the demon from its blind spots. As for Chu Liuxiang, she would attack whenever possible from afar. They have pretty good teamwork despite this being their first day fighting together. Yuan thought to himself as he watched them fight. But they will need more than that to defeat the demon this time around. Bang. Li Jinsi was suddenly sent flying by the demon's attack. Jinsi, are you okay? Shi Murong shouted as he took over her spot. Yes, I am fine. I just wasn't expecting so much power from it. Looks like I will have to get a little serious as well. Li Jinsi's body suddenly began emitting a red aura. That technique. She's using it now. What if she goes on a rampage like before? Wang Ming exclaimed. She'll defeat both the demon and the others at this rate. Shilang cried out loud. Yuan, you need to stop her before she goes crazy. Wang Bingbing said to him. Huh? What's wrong with her? Yuan asked. You don't remember what happened at the tournament? She will go crazy if she uses that technique for too long. When that happens, all hell will break loose. At least that's what her family told us before we left. Really? It looked like she had complete control over it during the disciple examination. Yuan said. That's in a video game and this is real life. I'm sure you can do things in that you can't do here, right? Alright, I will stop her if things get out of hand. For now, let's just see where this goes. Don't forget, I stopped her during the competition. Yuan smiled. Okay. Meanwhile, Li Jinsi continued to pressure the demon, deflecting all of its attack with her raw strength. What should we do? Hong Xiuquan turned to look at Shi Murong. Why are you asking me? There's nothing we can do when she's like that. We'll only get in her way. In fact, she might even attack us if we get too close. Shi Murong shrugged. Unbelievable. She's already fighting the demon all by herself. She's truly talented. Chu Liuxiang mumbled in a dazed voice. About 10 minutes later, the demon stopped moving as it turned into stone. Li Jinsi had managed to seal the demon all by herself. Wow, she really did it, Wang Ming mumbled in awe. However, Li Jinsi wasn't finished. Watch out. Chu Liuxiang suddenly shouted. Huh. Shi Murong turned around to see Li Jinsi running at him with her sword in the air, her eyes filled with bloodlust. I knew it. Yuan. Wang Bingbing turned to look at him, but he was already on the move. Clang. Yuan appeared before Shi Murong to block Li Jinsi with the Empyrean Overlord. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. Wake up. Yuan swung his sword, sending Li Jinsi flying out the demon sealing zone. Aya. Li Jinsi roared, and her red aura started going even more out of control. However, before she could cause any more harm to herself, Yuan used his movement technique to appear in front of her and gave her a good punch in the stomach, instantly knocking her unconscious. After catching Li Jinsi's body, Yuan said to the others, We'll stop here for today and continue our training tomorrow. Thank God, Wang Ming sighed in relief after hearing such words. I'm going to bring Jinsi back to her room. Yuan said as he carried her like a princess. You're going to leave the demon out here just like that? That's insane. The manager approached him as he tried to leave. Don't worry, the demon won't go anywhere. Idolo remained sealed for a week with the strength of Jinxi's demon-sealing aura. Yuan said. Absolutely not. I will not leave here until you kill that demon. The manager exclaimed. Be my guest. We have plenty of empty rooms in our household. Yuan chuckled. Why you? Unbelievable. The manager stomped her feet in anger. Sometime later, Yuan placed Li Jinxi on her bed so that she could rest. However, right as he prepared to leave, he started hearing noises coming from behind, and it sounded like someone was groaning in pain. Jinxi? Are you okay? What's happening to you? Yuan rushed back to her side when he noticed that she was soaked in sweat. It hurts, she muttered in a low voice. Is this a backlash from using her technique? This didn't happen before. After pondering for a second, Yuan rushed out of the room to find someone from the 6 spiritual families. He quickly ran into Wang Bingbing. Something's wrong with Jinxi. She's sweating buckets and she appears to be in pain. What? It must be due to the technique that she used earlier. Senior Li warned us about it. That she might experience some backlash if she used it. What should we do to calm her down? Yuan then asked. I don't know. Senior Li didn't mention it, but I will immediately call her family. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 891. Published at 28th of April 2022 12:48 and 13 seconds p.m. Chapter 891. 891 If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 891. Massage. Hello. Senior Li? It's me, Wang Bingbing. Oh, this is an emergency, Senior Li. Li Jinxi, she's currently experiencing a backlash from using her weird technique that you warned us about. What? Why did that foolish child use that technique? It's a long story, but right now, I need you to tell me what we can do to calm her down. Right. Her muscles right now should be pulsating, almost like there are worms wiggling inside her body. Can you see it? Senior Li asked. Yes, I see it. Wang Bingbing said. This is the result of Li Jinxi enhancing her muscles far past their limits. In order to calm her down, you must relax her muscles. Massage her body and then let her body simmer in hot water until she's fully recovered. If you have any medical leaves around, soak them in the hot water for a better effect. Okay. Thank you, Senior Li. I will call you back once things calm down. Wang Bingbing said before closing the connection. Did you hear all of that? She turned to look at Yuan. Yes, I heard him loud and clear. I will fill the bath with hot water. In the meantime, can you massage her body? He asked her. I don't know how to do massages, but I can try. You just squeeze their muscles with strength, right? Wang Bingbing swallowed nervously before she started massaging Li Jinxi's arms that felt incredibly weird. Yuan, I don't think this is helping. Her muscles feel incredibly stiff, like I am massaging rocks instead of muscles. Wang Bingbing called for help. Yuan said, all right, switch with me. I will see what I can do. After switching places with Wang Bingbing, Yuan pondered as he inspected Li Jinxi's condition. Her muscles feel like stones, huh? Let's try this. Yuan began massaging Li Jinxi's body, starting with her arms. How do you feel? Yuan asked her a few moments later. Be better, she uttered. Good, then this is working. A few moments later, Wang Bingbing asked him from the bathroom, Yuan, any results? Yes, it's working. She's getting better. Really? He'll be with you in a minute. Once she was finished with filling the bathtub, Wang Bingbing returned to the bedroom to check on them. How are you doing this? I hope you're not using brute force. She swallowed nervously when she saw how causally Yuan made it seem like massaging Li Jinxi. Of course not. I'm not really using my fingers to massage her muscles. I am using my spiritual energy to guide her muscles instead, to loosen it. Where did you learn how to do such a thing? Wang Bingbing asked him with great curiosity. He said with a smile. Sometime later, once Yuan finished massaging Li Jinxi's arm, he moved to other parts of her body until all of her limbs were relaxed. All right, I think she's ready for the bath, Yuan said. Wait, Li Jinxi suddenly grabbed his hand. And she continued, massage, here, as well. Using her free hand, Li Jinxi ripped her shirt right off her body, revealing her bare chest to them. Ugh, Yuan raised his eyebrows and turned to face Wang Bingbing. Don't worry, this is to relieve her pain. I will also be here so there won't be any misunderstandings. All right. Yuan said nothing else and started massaging Li Jinxi's body. About 10 minutes later, Wang Bingbing carried Li Jinxi into the bathroom to soak in hot water. I will wait outside, Yuan said as they entered the bathroom. Thank you, Li Jinxi mumbled in a low voice. Maybe you'll think twice before using that weird technique again. Wang Bingbing smiled. I don't understand. I was able to use it without any problems in cultivation online. I thought it would be fine if I started using it out here now, but visit Reatal me for extra chapters. Don't worry too much about it. I'm sure you'll eventually be able to use that technique without any backlash, Wang Bingbing said. After spending about 2 hours soaking in the bathtub, Li Jinxi recovered from her backlash. How are you feeling? Yuan asked. I am feeling fine. Thank you for the massage and I'm sorry for causing you trouble. I won't use that technique again. Actually, I want you to continue using that technique. I want you to practice your control with that technique, Yuan said, dumbfounding them. Why you want her to continue using that technique? But that would, Wang Bingbing stared at him with wide eyes. No, she will only experience a backlash if she goes overboard with the technique. As long as she maintains control over it, she will be fine. What? Why do you want me to? Li Jinxi asked with a puzzled face. You don't want to? Oh, I am not forcing you. If you don't want to master that technique, which will, without doubt, make you much stronger, I will do it, Li Jinxi quickly said. I want to become stronger. I want to be able to use that technique without feeling pain afterward. Can you help me? Yuan nodded. I will help you to the best of my abilities, but it's not going to be easy. You might even experience more backlashes during your training. Are you prepared for that? Yes, I am prepared. If I experience any backlashes, you'll be there to massage me, right? Of course. He nodded. Wang Bingbing witnessed their casual conversation with her mouth wide open. How can they say such shameless things to each other without being embarrassed about it? She wondered inwardly. Get some rest. Yuan and Wang Bingbing left Li Jinxi alone shortly after. I'm going to call Senior Li to let him know that everything is fine now, Wang Bingbing said. All right. You should get some rest too. Your group will be fighting the demon first thing tomorrow morning after all, Yuan said with a smile. I completely forgot about that. I will see you later at dinner. Of course. Wang Bingbing nodded. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 892. Published at 28th of April 2022 6:18 and 21 seconds p.m. Chapter 892. 892 If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 892. Manager's true nature. Before she even started cooking dinner, Meishio approached Yuan and asked him, You know the manager has been standing in our backyard this entire time, right? I think she's guarding the demon. Maybe we should invite her for dinner? I doubt she'll even want to join us, but I will ask her just in case. Okay, I will leave her to you. I will go prepare for dinner now. Once Meishio left, Yuan went to the training area to confront the manager. You'll catch a cold if you stand out here for too long. Why don't you come inside and have dinner with us? Meixius a great cook. The manager slowly turned to look at him with a cold expression on her face. I have an even better idea. Why don't you hurry up and kill the demon so that I can go back home and eat my own dinner? Why are you so worried about the demon? I have already promised you that there won't be any problems. The demon is sealed and I will use it to train my friends for the next few days. Once that is done, I will kill it and move on to the next demon. Why don't you use the other demons to train your friends? There are 11 demons in total. You can train for a total of 11 days if you use a demon once a day. The manager then asked. Yuan smiled and said, We need to tackle this at a certain pace. They just had their first experience fighting a demon today. In fact, this is their first time seeing a real demon that's not sealed. If we rush this, it will only do more harm than good. After a moment of silence from the manager, she spoke in a grim voice. The fact that you're taking this situation so lightly proves to me that you know nothing about demons or what they are truly capable of. I know nothing about demons? Yuan couldn't help but chuckle at her claims. What's so funny? If you knew the true horror of demons, you wouldn't be acting so casually. There is nobody in this world that knows more about demons than me, Yuan said. Where does your confidence come from? Just like how I don't really know anything about you or the Lord, you also don't know anything about me. Give me a few days. I will prove to you that I have the situation completely under control. In the meantime, why don't you relax a little and come eat dinner with us? If you waste Mixia's effort in the food she cooked for you, I will tell everyone about your true nature. My true nature? What do you know about me? The manager suddenly shouted at him. A profound smile appeared on Yuan's face as he responded in a calm voice. Qi Fang told me. You may act all serious and careful in public, but you're really just a lazy woman who'd rather lay in her bed all day watching television. The manager's face immediately flushed with redness after hearing his words. Has she told you that? That good-for-nothing loudmouth. The next time I see her, I will definitely. Let's go, Leah. I'm getting cold and hungry. Yuan said to her as he began making his way back to the house. How many times do I have to tell you to not call me by that name? The manager frowned. Once Yuan left the scene, the manager released a sigh of relief. He startled me for a second there. I really thought he knew about that. Sometime later, everyone gathered at the dining table for dinner. Where's the manager? Meishio asked Yuan after they sat down. The door opened at this moment, and the manager slowly walked into the dining room before taking a seat at the table with everyone else. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. Thank you for coming. Yuan smiled at her. After dinner, Yuan said to everyone there, I must say, you all performed much better than I'd anticipated today. At this rate, you'll all become expert demon sealers in no time. However, with that being said, I noticed some mistakes that some of you made. I will now tell you those mistakes, so listen up and try to learn from it. Wang Ming, I know demons are very ugly and hard to look at, but you must look at them while you're confronting one. I noticed that you tried to avoid eye contact with the demon as much as possible today. That will easily get you killed if you're fighting a demon alone. Lang, that also applies to you. Your movements today are quite sluggish. Your movements during regular training are a whole level better compared to your performance today. Jinxi, you're too aggressive with your attacks. You use too much strength when you swing your sword. Remember, it's your demon sealing aura that damages the demons, not your strength. Meishio, you need to stop holding back. I know that it could be a little hard to shoot the demon with a bow and arrow when the others are fighting it at close range, but you subconsciously hold yourself back even when you have a clear shot. On the other hand, Lulu, you need to learn how to hold back. You're using too much energy even when it isn't necessary. Yuan continued to speak until everybody that participated in the training today was lectured. Now that you all know what you did wrong, I want you to keep it in mind and learn from it. I must admit, Yuan, I never knew you were such a good teacher. Where'd you learn such a skill? Wu Zhao asked him after their lecture. I wouldn't call that teaching. I'm just pointing out what I saw, that's all. I don't qualify to be called a teacher. He shook his head. No need to be humble, Yuan. We know a good lecturer when we see one. You could easily become a top lecturer at the Jaded Garden if you worked there. Wang Ming said. After talking with each other for a few more minutes and cleaning up the place, everyone but Yuan and the manager retired to their rooms. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 893, published at 29th of April 2022, 7:27 and 35 seconds p.m. Chapter 893. Chapter 893. Explosion. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 893. Explosion. We have a fully furnished guest room if you really intend on staying here tonight. Yuan said to the manager and pointed at a certain room down the hallway. I don't need any room. The manager said, and she proceeded to leave the building, returning to the training area with the sealed demon. Does she really intend on staying out there the whole night? Makes me feel kind of guilty. Chu Liuxiang asked out loud as she looked at the manager's lonely figure through the window in their room. Let her do as she pleases. It's not like I didn't offer her a room. Yuan said. The following morning, after a light breakfast, everyone gathered at the training area. Since we stopped with the first group yesterday, the second group will start things off today. Meishio, Wang Ming, Lang, Wang Bingbing and Wu Zhao. You're up. Yuan said to them. Once they were prepared after a short warm-up, Yuan removed the seal on the demon for the third time. Fucking livestocks. How dare you mess with me? The demon immediately became enraged the moment it came out of its seal. Let's go. Wang Ming was the first to act, followed by Shi Lang. After Yuan's lecture yesterday, they focused on trying to suppress their fear towards the demon as they confronted it. Of course, it was easier said than done, and they were still overwhelmed by fear for the first few minutes. However, as they fought the demon, their fear began to reduce, allowing them to fight more efficiently. Wang Ming's sword attacks were sharp and powerful. Shi Lang was incredibly precise with his spear. The two of them danced beside each other in front of the demon to keep it at bay from the others, who would attack the demon from its blind spot. Because of their near-perfect teamwork, the demon could barely retaliate, and when it would try to retaliate, an arrow would appear from its blind spot and blow a hole in its face, halting its movements for a second, which is enough for the others to catch their breath and continue their onslaught. After 10 minutes of relentless effort from Group 2, the demon became sealed again. I'm exhausted. Wang Ming fell onto his butt afterward. Did you guys secretly practice together? I must say your teamwork is almost impeccable. Yuan asked them. No, but if you spar enough with someone, you subconsciously predict their movements and instinctively react accordingly. Shi Lang said. Yes, and since we all lived in the same place, we all ended up training with each other. Wang Bingbing said. Furthermore, there are not many disciples within the Jaded Garden that could keep up with us, so we end up practicing with each other more than we like. Wang Ming sighed. I see. It makes perfect sense then. Yuan nodded. After pondering for a moment, he asked them, do you guys feel confident enough to fight the demon by yourselves now? If you're not, we can continue fighting in smaller groups. Fighting the demon alone? They all swallowed nervously at such a thought. Seeing their reaction, Yuan smiled. I guess it's still too early. After all, it's only the second day. Alright, you will continue fighting in groups, but since it's clearly too easy with your current numbers, I will split the group even smaller. The new first group will be Wang Ming, Shi Murong, and Meishio. The second group will be Shi Lang, Wang Bingbing, and Lulu. The third group will be Wu Zhao, Hong Xiuquan, and Li Jinxi. After a short break, Yuan unsealed the demon and continued their training, and they would quickly realize how losing a single person in their group made it exponentially harder for them to fight the demon. They were able to seal the demon without getting hurt before, but now they're all receiving minor injuries, and it took them twice as long to seal the demon, with each group taking almost half an hour to seal the demon. Sometime later, Wang Ming lost his balance for a split second after his attack was deflected, and the demon immediately took advantage of his moment of weakness and went straight for his neck without any hesitation. Shit. Death flashed before Wang Ming's eyes. Die, livestock. The demon's claw reached the skin on Wang Ming's neck and penetrated into his skin, but its entire body froze before it could really pierce his neck. Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. Wang Ming immediately distanced himself from the demon, and he could feel his own blood dripping down his neck afterward. Thank you, Yuan, Wang Ming said in a trembling voice. The fight isn't over yet. Yuan said to him before removing the restrictions on the demon, allowing it to move again. However, the demon didn't continue to fight. Instead, it turned to look at Yuan. What did you just do to my body? As long as you're within my demon sealing zone, I have complete control over your body. Yuan calmly responded. Demon sealing zone? The demon had been so focused on fighting the others that it didn't even realize it was trapped inside the demon sealing zone until now. I see. The demon appeared to realize its situation shortly after. If that's the case, I'd rather die than be a plaything for humans. The demon suddenly began expanding like a balloon, and its body also started burning like steel that just came out of the forge. When Yuan saw this, he immediately shouted, All of you, get away from the demon. It's going to explode. What? The others immediately distanced themselves from the demon. Meanwhile, Yuan shrunk the demon sealing zone until it was only a few meters in diameter. Once the demon reached its limit, the crystal on its body shattered, causing its body to explode with intense spiritual energy. The entire mountain shook for a brief moment after the explosion, but because of the demon sealing zone that contained all of the impact, there was no real damage done by it and nobody was hurt. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 894. Published at 29th of April 2022 7:27 and 33 seconds p.m. Chapter 894. Chapter 894. Celestial Chi. If audio player doesn't work, press stop then play button again. Chapter 894. Celestial Chi. Yuan, you never told us that demons could just explode like that. Shi Lang exclaimed afterward. Sorry, they rarely do that even in desperate situations, so I forgot about it. Yuan said with an apologetic smile. What the demon just did is called a core detonation. It's basically a suicide move that is very hard to stop and has the effects of a bomb. I didn't think it would kill itself so quickly, so I wasn't prepared for it. What a pity it only lasted for 2 days. With that being said, Leah, can you bring us the next demon? Yuan turned to face her. Absolutely not. You almost blew up the entire mountain. She immediately refused. That's an exaggeration. With that demon's strength, it would have blown away our house at most. Yuan said. Ridiculous. Why are you even training them? What do you hope to achieve with just a few days of training? There are only 10 demons left, and I doubt they are capable of fighting all 10 demons. Even if they can fight all 10 demons, it won't make any real difference. If it was so easy to train a demon sealer, there would be many more demon sealers in this world. After a moment of silence, Yuan spoke. Yes, you're right. Out of the remaining 10 demons, they would only be able to fight 2 of them, with the rest being way beyond their capabilities. However, you shouldn't underestimate my friends nor my training methods. Even a day's worth of training will benefit them enormously. In fact, it could even be a difference of life and death. I don't get it. Just where are you getting your confidence from? The manager sighed, feeling as though she was talking to a wall. Of course, there was no way that the manager could have known that in one of Yuan's past lives, he was the divine paragon, creator of the demon sealing techniques and the founder of the demon sealing clan, where he trained tens of thousands of demon sealers. Trust me, this will only last for 2 more demons. After that, I will swiftly take care of the rest. I promise. The manager rubbed her temples for a good moment before speaking. Fine. 2 more demons. If you don't stop messing around with the demons after that, I will kill you. I promise. Thank you, Leah. Yuan smiled. Don't call. Forget it. Yuan then turned to look at the others and proceeded to lecture them about their mistakes. How do you feel, Wang Ming? Yuan asked him afterward. I'm still a little shaken. If you hadn't stopped the demon, I would have been dead now. He sighed. I'm truly pathetic. Don't think like that. You're doing very well for a new demon sealer. In fact, most demon sealers won't be able to face a real demon without months of intense training. The fact that you could fight it without running away on your first day is very impressive. This goes for all of you. I'm actually very surprised that none of you ran away. Of course, I wouldn't have blamed any of you even if you did run away. After all, I was frozen from fear when I first encountered a demon. He sighed inwardly. Anyways, let's take a break. We'll start our next training session in 2 days. Sometime later, the manager returned to the Lord to explain the situation to him. I see. So that's the real cause of the tremor just now. I thought it was another earthquake caused by the sealed demons. He's using the demons as a practice tool for the others. I must say this is beyond my expectations. It's so bold that it's almost crazy. The Lord sighed. Should I stop him? And how are you going to do that? You might have been able to defeat him when he first arrived at the mountain, but you won't stand a chance against him now. What? You think he's stronger than me? Is it because he can kill demons and I cannot? If I could use demon sealing techniques, I would also be able to kill them. The manager exclaimed. No, his strength far exceeds his ability to kill demons. Although very faintly, I could sense celestial chi from his body during his last visit. What? Celestial chi? Impossible. He was born in this world. There's no way he could have celestial chi. The manager shouted in a voice of disbelief. It's true. I couldn't sense it from him before, but I sensed it very clearly during his last visit. He must have awakened his celestial chi somehow. Do you have any idea? Visit Rietal. Me for extra chapters. The manager pondered for a good moment before shaking her head. The only thing I can think of is the incident that happened to him at the Chi family, but it's highly unlikely. It was after our visit to the Chi family that he started acting differently. So something happened to him after he returned, huh? What could have happened in such a short time? I cannot even imagine. Sometime later the Lord spoke. Anyways, continue monitoring him. We need to be certain that we can trust him. Okay, the manager nodded. What's wrong? You seem worried about something. The Lord suddenly asked. Actually, I might be overthinking this, but I have this feeling that he somehow knows of our secret." She sighed. "What? How is that possible? Did you do something that could have revealed it?" "No. I didn't say or do anything." The manager suddenly stopped talking and held a dazed look on her face. I told him that I couldn't learn demon sealing techniques out of frustration. That's also around the time when I started having this feeling. There's no way he could have realized the truth just from that alone, right?" The manager said in a worried voice. "It's possible. I am sorry," the manager sighed. "What's done is already done. And we don't really know if he realized our secret or not. Just continue to monitor him, but don't try to probe his knowledge. You might end up telling him the truth, which would be quite comical if he doesn't actually know anything," the Lord said. "Okay." The manager nodded. "If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. You're tuning in to the Han Lee's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.